The Throne of the Mechas. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 1701 Qingyang Caravan. 3 months later. Qianlong Galaxy, Qianlong Empire. In the starry sky, more than a dozen large cargo ships were flying towards a white planet covered with clouds in the distance. Boss, in 2 days, our Qingyang caravan will reach our destination, Muan Star of the Qianlong Empire. A human alien with a dog's head and a human body said excitedly on a large merchant ship in the center. Ali, thanks to you for this journey. Yi Deng, the boss of the Qingyang caravan, breathed a sigh of relief. It was his first time to take the trade route from the Ojali Galaxy to the Qianlong Galaxy. There were many difficulties along the way. He encountered several waves of star pirates and dangerous star beasts. 5 of the caravan's large cargo ships were damaged. Fortunately, there were still 14 merchant ships that were about to arrive at their destination safely. Haha, although this trip is thrilling, we also made a lot of money. The dog-headed man Ali laughed. When we get to Muan Star, I'm going to have a good drink at the bar, and then find a beautiful woman from the Qianlong Empire to sleep with. Well, I was able to be safe this time, thanks to Brother Zirmu. Yi Deng's eyes fell on a human man with an ordinary figure and red skin standing by the porthole of the spacecraft. Yes. Zirmu nodded slightly inside. It's really time to say goodbye. This red-skinned human man named Zirmu was Xia Xingchen. Zirmu was just his disguise. In order to avoid the pursuit of the Dark Web Killer and the Eternal God Clan, Xia Xingchen spent a high price to buy a camouflage device at the Zingi headquarters, which could disguise his appearance into any appearance, and changed several identities, and used several pseudonyms. Because the identity of a mecha master was too eye-catching, Xia Xingchen didn't even take out the mecha, and claimed along the way that he was a human who practiced spiritual power. Despite this, there were still many crises along the way, and his identity was almost exposed several times. Fortunately, the Qianlong Galaxy is very far away from the Milky Way, and the life races here do not know about humans. The killers only heard that Xia Xingchen was a mecha master, and did not expect that his mental power was enough to be promoted to a celestial being. In addition, Xia Xingchen was cautious in everything, which is why he barely survived in the crisis-ridden Qianlong Empire. In addition to the puppet Qianlong people supported by the eternal gods, the Qianlong Empire has thousands of races. Most races have not been promoted to celestial beings. For example, the Qingyang caravan, where Xia Xingchen is now, the strongest is only a quasi-celestial being. A month ago, this caravan encountered a group of ferocious star beasts in a small meteorite belt, and sent out a distress signal in the crisis. It happened that Xia Xingchen was nearby, and helped the Qingyang caravan to overcome the difficulties. In that battle, Xia Xingchen did not show his true strength, but only showed the level of a quasi-celestial being, and he did not drive a mecha, but his combat power has already amazed everyone in the Qingyang caravan. After surviving the crisis, knowing that Xia Xingchen was also going to the heart of the Qianlong Empire, the caravan owner Yi Deng invited him to go with him. Xia Xingchen was suffering from not having a suitable identity to enter the Qianlong Empire. Knowing that Yi Deng wanted him to protect the caravan, he readily accepted and agreed. After all, Xia Xingchen was unfamiliar with the Qianlong Empire. First, he used the caravan to hide his identity, and second, he learned about the general situation of the Qianlong Empire through the caravan. In a month, Xia Xingchen quickly integrated into the caravan, and learned about the basic situation of the Qianlong Empire and the surrounding galaxies. The Qianlong Empire has a huge territory, and occupies the entire Qianlong Galaxy. The empire implements a feudal monarchy with strict class structure, which is similar to the Galactic Empire. However, unlike the human Galactic Empire, the Galactic Empire is a country composed almost entirely of humans. Other aliens are very few in number, backward in technology, and are all vassals. The ruling race of the Qianlong Empire is a very small number of Qianlong people, who are basically celestial beings. Under the Qianlong people, there are thousands of races. The 5 major life types of Zerg, human, mechanical, energy, and spiritual all exist. These thousands of races are divided into 9 different classes, with extremely complex social relations and prominent social contradictions. Except for some star regions under the jurisdiction of the Xianlang people, other star regions have been in war for years, and races often fight to the death. As rulers, the Xianlang people turned a blind eye to these wars and even deliberately provoked disputes. Xia Xingchen knew that this was the way the Xianlang people ruled the empire. Although cruel, it was very effective. In the Xianlang Empire, most races were dissatisfied with the Xianlang people. However, the Xianlang people were backed by the powerful eternal gods, so they were also fearless, acting recklessly, cruelly, and tyrannically. The entire empire was also riddled with holes and corruption. Xia Xingchen sympathized with the people of the Xianlang Empire, and knew that they were like living in hell. However, Xia Xingchen was now in danger, and could do nothing to help. Humans are lucky to be able to hide behind the galactic barrier and recuperate, compared to most races in the universe. Xia Xingchen sighed in his heart. Brothers, I am you. After we arrive at Muan Star, we will part ways. However, the door of King Guiyang Caravan is always open to you. Welcome to visit King Guiyang Star. Boss Yi Deng said with a smile. I'll definitely go when I have time. Xia Xingchen smiled and nodded, looking at Yi Deng. Just as the two were talking, the spaceship suddenly shook and an alarm sounded. Yi Deng was unsteady and almost fell. What's going on? The guide Ali frowned. Oh no, a group of acid dragons appeared in front of us. They are flying towards us and spitting acid at the spaceship. An observer in front of the screen shouted in panic. Acid dragons? Everyone in the spaceship changed their faces. Acid dragons are a kind of ferocious star beasts unique to the Xianlang galaxy. They are born to survive in space. They are huge and powerful. They can spray acid to attack spaceships, and are very difficult to deal with. Although acid dragons are ferocious, they generally don't attack spaceships. Xia Xingchen frowned, and said in a deep voice. But, in fact, they are attacking. Ali shouted, looking panicked. The spaceship should turn around immediately and bypass these dragons. No. Xia Xingchen shouted suddenly, the acid dragons are attacking the spaceship abnormally. I'm afraid someone is behind them. They want to force us to change the course of the spaceship. Once the course is changed, we will fall into their trap. Xia Xingchen has been through many battles and quickly noticed the abnormality. Combined with his experience as a star pirate in the chaotic starfield, he immediately judged that someone was behind it. What should we do then? Yi Deng was obviously panicked, his voice trembling. In fact, among all the spaceships, only Xia Xingchen could remain calm and analyze the situation, while everyone else was in a panic. Don't slow down the spaceship, rush towards the acid dragon. Trust me. Xia Xingchen put his palm on Yi Deng's shoulder and said in a deep voice. Chapter 70 Note to Seeing Through the Disguise. What? Rush directly towards the acid dragon? Are you crazy? The dog-headed guide Ali shouted, his face full of horror, his eyes staring straight at Xia Xingchen. Xia Mu, are you sure we really want to do this? Yi Deng was also hesitant. Xia Xingchen's decision was too incredible. He was simply looking for death. Yes, this is our only way to survive. Xia Xingchen's low voice sounded. You saved the lives of the King Guiyang caravan. I believe you. Yi Deng recalled the previous battles, and Xia Mu also made several unexpected decisions. But in the end, it turned out that these decisions were all correct. Yi Deng also made up his mind at this moment, and decided to trust Xia Xingchen again. Crazy. Really crazy. Ali shook his head, his face full of despair. The large cargo ship of the King Guiyang caravan did not choose to slow down, but rushed towards hundreds of acid dragons. The strength of ordinary acid dragons is equivalent to that of quasi-celestial beings, and among them, there are dragon kings whose strength is equivalent to that of celestial beings who have not entered the rank. They are rampant and fierce in the starry sky. The King Guiyang caravan was only equipped with basic laser cannons, which cause minimal damage to the acid dragons. Gaga. Gaga. The acid dragons released brain waves, and a loud noise sounded directly in the mind, interfering with people's actions. Many crew members of the King Guiyang caravan could not bear it. They covered their ears with their hands, and curled up in the corner, in pain. Xia Xingchen stood in the bridge room of the front spaceship, watching the acid dragons approaching rapidly, his pupils suddenly shining, and his powerful mental power spread out. "Get out." A domineering voice that resounded through the starry sky exploded in the mind of the acid dragon. Xia Xingchen entered the first level of the galaxy, and his mental power increased greatly. Just a loud shout made the acid dragon's brain suffer a shock, dizzy, and even a few weaker dragons were shaken down from the air. The Qingyang caravan spaceship took advantage of the moment when the acid dragon was dizzy and flew safely through the dragon group. Success. We broke out of the dragon group. How is it possible? Everyone in the caravan was in doubt. Ali also widened his eyes, his face full of confusion. He couldn't figure out the reason at all. He just urged, "Speed up, let's get out of here." Only Yi Deng's eyes fell on Xia Xingchen. He just found that Xia Xingchen seemed to have become a different person, and his aura became extremely powerful, like a god. However, this aura came and went quickly, less than 3 seconds before and after. Yi Deng suspected that it was his illusion. After the Qingyang caravan rushed out of the flying dragon group, several spaceships appeared in the starry sky on both sides. These spaceships had pirate logos on them, and they were the notorious interstellar pirates of Xian Langsing. Sure enough, there is an ambush. Xia Mu is right again. If our spaceship slows down and bypasses the flying dragon group, we will definitely fall into the pirates' trap. It was a close call. It was really a close call. The caravan members talked a lot and cast grateful eyes at Xia Xingchen. Although they didn't know how Xia Xingchen saw through the conspiracy of the interstellar pirates, he saved everyone's life again. After chasing for a while, these pirate ships found that it was futile, and they could not catch up with the Qingyang caravan at all. They had to slow down slowly, and seemed to give up the chase. A cheer rang out on the Qingyang caravan's ship. Only Xia Xingchen still frowned, standing in front of the porthole, looking at the dark starry sky in the distance, with a look of heavy heart. "Brother Xia Mu." Yi Deng walked up and asked in a low voice, "Under your command, we escaped the ambush of the interstellar pirates. Isn't it worth being happy?" Xia Xingchen shook his head slowly and said in a deep voice, "Although we got rid of the pirates, the crisis has not been resolved, because the person who drove the venom dragon to block the road is obviously not the pirates. And the person who can drive the flying dragon with the strength of a quasi-celestial being should be a celestial being." Celestial being? Yi Deng was shocked. To him, celestial beings were like gods. One day later, the Qingyang caravan was very close to Muon Star, and even the beautiful starring outside Muon Star could be seen with the naked eye. A team of cigar-shaped spaceships suddenly appeared in front. These spaceships are exactly the same in specifications, and have the emblem of the Xian Long Empire. It's the patrol team of the Xian Long Empire. "We are safe." Yi Deng laughed and looked at Xia Xingchen. "Brother Xia Mu, your worries are unnecessary. We have arrived safely at Muon Star." "Haha, I hope so." Xia Xingchen smiled, but did not relax his vigilance. He quietly launched the Omniscience Field to explore these patrol ships of the Xian Long Empire. Soon, Xia Xingchen's brows furrowed. These patrol ships turned out to be pirate ships in disguise. There was also a group of ferocious interstellar pirates hiding in the spaceships. Interstellar pirates dare to disguise themselves as patrol teams of the Xian Long Empire. What a courage. Xia Xingchen's heart trembled. At the same time, this also made Xia Xingchen understand how corrupt the rule of the Xian Long Empire was. This starfield is very close to Muon Star, and the interstellar pirates are so bold. I'm afraid that these pirates are even backed by the regular army of the Empire. We are the patrol team of the Xian Long Empire. Shut down the engine of the spacecraft and open the interface of the spacecraft. We need to conduct a routine inspection. A dozen human beings in golden uniforms flew out of the patrol spacecraft, holding trident weapons and shouting loudly. Okay. Yi Deng nodded quickly and was about to order his men to open the interface of the spacecraft. Wait a minute. Xia Xingchen stopped Yi Deng and shouted to the patrol team on the communicator, "What is your number? Do you have any documents to prove your identity?" The patrol members were stunned. The leader, a fierce man, stood up and said angrily, "You are just a caravan. Who do you think you are? How dare you interrogate me? I said I would check you, and I will." Hurry up and open the door of the spacecraft. The captain exuded a savage and fierce aura, with a murderous look on his face. Even Li Deng could see that something was wrong. Rather than being a patrol team of the Xianlong Empire, this person looked more like an interstellar pirate. Captain, please show me your identity documents, Li Deng said with a firm attitude. Damn it. The vicious man was so angry that he tore his patrol uniform into pieces and shouted, I told the boss a long time ago, what's the point of pretending like this? Just go and rob with guns and knives, isn't it? Everyone on the merchant ship, get out of here. Your merchant ship and the goods inside, I want them. The other patrol members saw that they were exposed, and they tore their uniforms into pieces, revealing their true faces. They were indeed a group of ferocious space pirates. Several spaceships in the distance had removed their disguises and raised the eye-catching pirate skull flags above them. Chapter 1703 Blue Flame Soul. Muon Star. In the universe, the space pirates of the Xianlong Empire disguised themselves as patrols, but Xia Xingchen easily saw through them. Space pirates actually disguised themselves as patrols. We have to thank Xia Mu again. Otherwise, if the pirates enter the spacecraft, it will be difficult for us to resist. The people of the Qingyang caravan couldn't help but exclaimed. Xia Xingchen's eyes fell on the flag of the pirate ship, and the corners of his mouth slightly raised, and he said to himself, in a galaxy so far away from the Milky Way, the interstellar pirates also use skull flags. It's really interesting. Xia Xingchen knew that this was not a coincidence. Millions of years ago, the flag of space pirates was already a flamboyant skull flag. Human pirates use skull flags because these memories are engraved deep in human genes and are unconsciously displayed. Seeing the familiar pirate flag in such a distant starfield made Xia Xingchen feel a little bit of intimacy. Brother Xia Mu, what should we do next? Li Deng asked, looking at these ferocious pirates outside the spacecraft. Well, I'll negotiate with them. Xia Xingchen nodded, turned on the communicator, tuned to the band of the interstellar pirates, and said in a deep voice, I'll give you 3 minutes to get out of the way immediately, otherwise, I'll kill you without mercy. Xia Xingchen did not take action directly, but gave the space pirates a way to survive and gave them 3 minutes to evacuate. Xia Xingchen had been in the Chaos Star domain, and had been an interstellar pirate for a while. Edward, the domain lord of the Chaos Star domain, was Xia Xingchen's elder brother, and one of the 7 interstellar pirate overlords in the Chaos Star domain. It is rumored that interstellar pirates are all lunatics who kill without blinking an eye. However, Xia Xingchen knew that interstellar pirates were actually ordinary people. They had their own families, friends, and relatives. If they were not desperate, no one would take the initiative to become an interstellar pirate. Xia Xingchen not only heard about the degree of chaos under the rule of the Xianlong Empire, but also saw it with his own eyes. The officials forced the people to rebel, and there was a reason why the interstellar pirates were so rampant. In short, Xia Xingchen felt compassion and gave these interstellar pirates a chance to let them leave. However, when Xia Xingchen's words fell into the ears of the interstellar pirates, they were stunned at first, and then burst into laughter. 3 minutes for us to evacuate. Ha ha ha, this little guy from the Qingyang caravan seems to be crazy. This is the funniest joke I have ever heard in my life. At this time, there was a wave of fluctuations in the space, and a spaceship appeared out of thin air in the starry sky. A spiritual life in a black robe and blue cold flames in his eyes walked down from the spaceship and said coldly, Kuang-san, I asked you to rob and kill this caravan. Why haven't you done it yet? Boss. The interstellar pirates all showed horror on their faces and bowed quickly. Let's do it now. A bunch of useless idiots, dragging their feet. I'll do it myself. The spiritual life turned around, and under the black robe, his body was also a void of blue light. It was obvious that he had abandoned his physical body and became a pure spiritual existence. It's the notorious star pirate Qingyang Soul. These interstellar pirates are actually Qingyang Soul subordinates. This is bad. Instantly, the Qingyang caravan felt extremely desperate. This Qingyang Soul is said to be a second-level celestial being in the galaxy. His spiritual body is strong and can even defeat the third-level galaxy. There are many bounty hunters in the Xianlong Empire, who have always wanted to hunt King Iron Soul, but he either escaped or was killed by him. Yi Deng and others were completely panicked, with horror in their eyes. If it were just this group of interstellar pirates, they could still barely resist with Xia Mu. But with the addition of the second level King Iron Soul, there was simply no hope. A second level galaxy powerhouse is actually willing to be an interstellar pirate? Xia Xingchen was slightly stunned, with a slightly surprised expression. According to Xia Xingchen's understanding, the territory of the Xianlong Empire is extremely large. Although there are many powerhouses, they are far less dense than the Xingyi Star region. The second level galaxy is enough to dominate one side. This green flame soul wanted to be an interstellar pirate, robbing merchant ships, and the ship robbed was the merchant ship of the King Yang caravan, which was really incredible to Xia Xingchen. Because in the eyes of the celestial beings, the life race is below the celestial beings. From technology to resources, everything is garbage, and not worth mentioning. Could it be that the green flame soul actually has other purposes? Xia Xingchen guessed secretly. Boss, we are very close to Muon Star. Please ask Xia Mu to protect you to break through to Muon Star. We will stop the green flame soul here. The captain of the caravan guard stepped forward with a determined look on his face. Obviously, these guards have planned to desperately stop these star pirates and fight for a chance of survival for Yi Deng. No need. Xia Xingchen waved his hand. Everyone was surprised and didn't understand what Xia Mu meant. Could it be that he was going to give up Yi Deng and escape by himself? Of course, this is not Xia Mu's fault. They all know how much pressure it is to face the second level celestial beings of the galaxy. It's just that facing the green flame soul, the body can't help but tremble. How can there be the courage to fight? Mu Yongxing, the strength of the second level star system. I'm afraid that this King Iron Soul has some connection with the military of the Xianlong Empire, so it is so presumptuous. Xia Xingchen thought secretly, we must fight quickly and decisively. King Iron Soul, right. I'll give you one last chance. Take your men and retreat immediately. This time you only have 10 seconds. However, Xia Xingchen still gave the other party one last chance to retreat. Hearing Xia Xingchen's words, the entire starry sky was silent, and everyone was stunned and looked at Xia Xingchen in shock. At this time, Xia Mu is still threatening King Iron Soul? Does he know what he is talking about? Boss, this kid actually looks down on you. Hahaha, it's so funny. Boss, you should kill them quickly. I'm almost dying of laughter. The star pirates all laughed loudly, and the public channel was noisy, with laughter coming one after another. Only King Iron Soul showed a trace of astonishment on his face, and looked in the direction of Xia Xingchen. He was good at mental power, and was extremely sensitive to danger. He did feel a slight threat from this seemingly ordinary human. However, this threat was not fatal. Never mind. Get rid of this caravan first. The green flame soul hesitated slightly, and then blue flames burned in his eyes, ready to launch a powerful mental attack. Xia obey. Xia Xingchen knew that he was not yet a match for the green flame soul, so he decisively summoned the spirit beast, the star devourer. Xia obey. Xia obey had already entered the black hole level. After swallowing the slayer, its level was also stabilized, enough to kill the green flame soul and a group of interstellar pirates in seconds. In the starry sky, a 10,000 meter long dragon shadow emerged, opened its huge mouth with intertwined fangs, and swallowed the green flame soul and the star pirates in one gulp. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1704 Mysterious Stone Pillar. The giant star-eating bug Xia, with a figure like a dragon, hovered in the dark space. Xia opened his mouth and swallowed the second level King Iron Soul of the galaxy. The King Iron Soul was shocked and struggled desperately. A strong mental wave burst out from his body and madly attacked Xiaobay's body. However, Xiaobay's level was already firmly above the black hole level. Even the third level killer of the galaxy was swallowed by it, let alone this King Iron Soul. In just a few seconds, the King Iron Soul could no longer hold on in Xiaobay's body and melted into a pool of green liquid. The strength of the other star pirates was far from that of the King Iron Soul. In the wailing, their bodies also melted. Master, the enemy has been eliminated. Xiao Bei lowered his head and transmitted a soul wave to Xia Xingchen. Xiao Bei, you did a good job, come back. Xia Xingchen said. The master praised me. There was a small tentacle above the dragon's head. It was Xiao Bei, who looked like a girl, who smiled sweetly. The slender and delicate figure of the girl formed a sharp contrast with the huge and ferocious body of the giant insect. The huge star-eating insect turned into a phantom and returned to Xia Xingchen's personal space. After Xia Xingchen was promoted to the first level of the galaxy, his spiritual body was greatly improved, and his personal space also expanded accordingly, otherwise it might not be able to accommodate Xiao Bei's huge body. In the blink of an eye, the interstellar pirates in front of the King Yang caravan were completely wiped out, and not even the corpses were left. Only a few empty pirate ships were left floating in the starry sky. All the interstellar pirates were killed. Even the powerful King Iron Soul was killed. The eyes of everyone in the King Yang caravan fell on Xia Xingchen. In addition to shock, there was a strong fear on their faces. This is the natural fear of the weak against the strong. Just like a rabbit facing a tiger, no matter how brave the rabbit is, it will definitely tremble uncontrollably. That, brothers, I am you. Oh, no, the honorable celestial being. Li Deng quickly changed his words halfway through his words, and was extremely respectful to Xia Xingchen. At the same time, his heart was in turmoil, and his forehead was covered with cold sweat. He thought to himself, I'm actually on good terms with the respectable celestial being, am I crazy? Xia Xingchen sighed in his heart as he looked at Li Deng's servile appearance. He had expected that once he revealed his true strength, the harmonious relationship between him and Li Deng would no longer exist. It is said that masters are lonely like snow. Xia Xingchen also deeply felt that his strength was getting stronger and stronger, but his friends were getting fewer and fewer. Because, in this universe, there are too few people who can catch up with Xia Xingchen's pace. Xia Xingchen shook his head slightly, his face sank, and said to Li Deng and other King Yang merchants, since my identity has been exposed, our journey ends here. There has been a major change in the Xianlong Empire, and it is no longer safe. You can return directly. Li Deng was stunned for a moment, and was silent for a long while, and said, Sir, we have traveled thousands of miles to the Xianlong Empire to trade. If we return like this, we will lose all our money, and the King Yang caravan will go bankrupt. I will buy all your goods, including the spacecraft. You can return now. Xia Xingchen waved his hand and said, buy all? Everyone in the King Yang caravan was stunned. You should know that the goods of the entire King Yang caravan, including the spacecraft, will cost 2 million according to the universal currency. This celestial being is so generous that he will buy all of them directly. Ding. Li Deng's personal terminal heard the sound of a transfer. He looked down and saw that there were a full 5 million universal currencies in his account. Seeing this huge amount of money, Li Deng was so surprised that he couldn't close his mouth. It took him a long time to react. He bowed to Xia Xingchen and said repeatedly, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. This money is nothing to Xia Xingchen. But for Li Deng, who has not yet become a celestial being, it is definitely a huge sum of money. On King Yang Star, where Li Deng is, this money can even buy his entire planet. Xia Xingchen bought the entire King Yang caravan, leaving only one spaceship for Li Deng and others to return immediately. Seeing the King Yang caravan people go away, Xia Xingchen unfolded the omniscience field and began to scan the cargo hold of the King Yang caravan. It is very unusual that the second level interstellar pirate King Iron Soul personally took action to intercept the King Yang caravan. According to Xia Xingchen's speculation, there is a possibility. The first possibility is that there are extremely rare things in the cargo of the King Yang caravan, which will attract the covetousness of the King Iron Soul. This is also the main reason why Xia Xingchen is willing to spend a huge amount of money to buy all the goods of the entire King Yang caravan. Found it. Xia Xingchen scanned with his omniscience domain and found unusual energy fluctuations in the lower level of a cargo ship. This was a 1 cubic meter obsidian pillar with many complex and mysterious patterns engraved on it. Xia Xingchen just took out the stone pillar and was immediately attracted by these patterns, and even his mind was deeply immersed in them. The thing that the Kingan soul wants must be this. Xia Xingchen couldn't see the mystery of the stone pillar for the time being, but he knew that it was definitely not an ordinary thing, so he put it into his personal space. Xia obey. Swallow all these spaceships. Xia Xingchen called out the star-eating bug. Xia obey again, swallowed all the spaceships of the Kingan caravan, and destroyed all traces of his existence. Finally, Xia Xingchen entered the Kingan soul's spaceship and prepared to explore and look for clues about the obsidian pillar. Beep, beep, the communicator kept beeping. Xia Xingchen took a curious look and was shocked to find that the signal was sent by the planetary governor of Muayangsing. Call. Call. Kingan soul, return home immediately after receiving the message. Return home immediately after receiving the message. The backer of this Kingan soul is indeed the Xianlong Empire. Xia Xingchen confirmed his guess. Fortunately, he summoned Xia Obey directly and swallowed the Kingan soul, leaving him no time to ask for help. If the Kingan soul sent out a distress signal and attracted the guards of the Xianlong Empire, things would be troublesome. Could it be that the Eternal God clan has discovered my whereabouts and is ready to hunt me down? Xia Xingchen fell into deep thought. After a moment, Xia Xingchen thought that this possibility was not great. If his whereabouts had been exposed, then it would not be the star pirates who blocked Muayangsing, but countless powerful celestial beings. However, Xia Xingchen had made such a big fuss, and his situation was already very dangerous. If he continued to go deep into the hinterland of the Xianlong Empire, there was a more than 90% chance that he would be discovered. This is the only way. Xia Xingchen's eyes lit up, and he used a camouflage device to change his appearance. He was dressed in a black robe, and his eyes were burning with blue flames. Xia Xingchen transformed into a blue flame soul, driving a pirate spaceship, and flew towards Muayangsing. Chapter 1705, City on the Clouds. Muayan Star. In the outer space of the planet, tens of thousands of armed spaceships are parked, and the security is tight. Many soldiers of the Xianlong Empire flew back and forth, checking the passing spaceships. Why do you check my spaceship? Do you know who I am? I'm the son of the governor of Weishang Star. A fat Xianlong man dressed luxuriously said proudly. Who cares who you are? This is the order of the Imperial Marshal Orban. Not to mention you. Your father has to come to check it. The Imperial soldier's face remained unchanged, and he still handled the matter impartially. Marshal Orban. Hearing this name, the fat Xianlong man's face changed slightly. Although he is the son of the planetary governor, his rank is too far behind that of the Imperial Marshal. Even his father is no different from an ant in front of Marshal Orban. The Xianlong man could only compromise and let the soldiers search his spaceship. The soldiers took the detector and searched his spaceship inside and out, and finally let him pass. Hundreds of spaceships lined up behind, waiting for the soldiers to check. Xia Xingchen, who was disguised as a Kingan soul, was also among them. He frowned when he saw this scene. The others waiting for the interrogation were all wondering why these Imperial soldiers were interrogating so closely. But Xia Xingchen had already guessed that the purpose of these soldiers was to capture him. The Eternal Protoss should have guessed that the purpose of my coming to the Xianlong Galaxy was to try to enter the Spacetime Academy. Therefore, they deployed troops here and conducted a thorough interrogation. There is a portal to the Spacetime Academy on Muayan Star. Xia Xingchen thought to himself. There are only 3 portals through the Spacetime Academy in the huge Xianlong Galaxy. The one on Muayan Star is one of them. The planets where the other 2 portals are located are extremely far away from Muayan Star. Now there are less than 10 days left before the Spacetime Academy assessment. Xia Xingchen has no time to rush to the other 2 locations. What's more, even if Xia Xingchen can rush there, those 2 planets must be tightly sealed like Muayan Star, and not even a fly can fly over. What should we do? Should we force our way in? Xia Xingchen quietly unfolded his omniscience to investigate the Xianlong Empire fleet. From the several spaceships in the distance, there were faint powerful energy fluctuations transmitted. At least they were powerful people of the 2nd galaxy level, and there were even terrifying people of the 3rd galaxy level. Not to mention, there must be more powerful people hidden inside Muan Star. The attitude of the Eternal God clan was very determined, and they must kill Xia Xingchen. At the very least, they must prevent him from entering the Spacetime Academy. As long as Xia Xingchen could not enter the Spacetime Academy, he would not have a moment of peace, and would sooner or later be killed by the swarming dark web assassins. After confirming that there were many powerful people in the fleet, Xia Xingchen gave up the idea of forcing his way in, which was too unrealistic. But how can I pass the inspection? Xia Xingchen kept thinking. Unknowingly, the team of spaceships was shortening, and the soldiers came to Xia Xingchen's front. HMM. From the fleet on the side, a second-level galaxy officer immediately flew over and came to Xia Xingchen's spaceship. Why is there an officer coming here all of a sudden? Has my identity been exposed? Xia Xingchen was nervous, his fists clenched tightly, and he was ready for battle. King Iron Soul, what are you dawdling about? Don't you know that the master is waiting for you? Hurry up and go to the planet to meet the master, the officer said angrily. Xia Xingchen was slightly startled, and then he realized that he had disguised himself as the interstellar pirate King Iron Soul and was driving his space pirate spaceship. I'll go right away, Xia Xingchen said hurriedly. Let him go. Let him go quickly. The officer waved his hand. Sir, he is the notorious space pirate King Iron Soul. Shouldn't we take the opportunity to arrest him? The soldiers looked surprised. Stop talking nonsense. He is the person the master has specifically asked to see. If there is any delay, can you afford it? The officer said angrily. Yes, sir. The soldiers' faces changed, and they quickly made way for Xia Xingchen to pass. Xia Xingchen didn't say much, and directly drove the spaceship into the atmosphere of Muan Star. The Empire didn't check the pirates' spaceships, but instead checked us law-abiding citizens. This empire is really corrupt to a certain extent. The military is colluding with the pirates. Oh, there is really no way out. Seeing that Xia Xingchen was not checked and passed the blockade safely, the people on the spaceship behind him shook their heads again and again, their faces full of disappointment. Whoosh! The spaceship passed through the atmosphere of Muan Star. The clouds above Muan Star were very thick. After Xia Xingchen entered the planet, he was shocked to find that many tall and majestic buildings were built on the clouds, emitting dazzling brilliance, like the Kingdom of Heaven. There were also many towns on the ground below the clouds. The houses in these towns were very low and dilapidated, grey and looked lifeless. Xia Xingchen had a basic understanding of the social structure of Muan Star from the King Iron Caravan. Muan Star was divided into two classes. One was the upper class living in the clouds, with advanced technology. The other was the lower class living on the ground, with very backward technology, equivalent to the Middle Ages on Earth. In the eyes of the lower class, the upper class is a god. And the upper class also enslaves the lower class, building huge palaces for them on the clouds and mining minerals. The social structure of Muangsing seems very special to Xia Xingchen, but it is not uncommon in the Xianlong Empire. The strong are revered as gods, and the weak are enslaved. A typical society where the strong prey on the weak. The spacecraft received the signal, and a small drone led the way in front, and landed on a cloud. Xia Xingchen walked out of the spacecraft, and stood on the cloud. The touch under his feet was as hard as cement, not as soft as imagined. This is a special technology of Muangsing that can solidify the cloud into a solid. Most of the Shinran technology is incredible, but Xia Xingchen is no longer surprised. Master King Iron Soul, a Xianlong with a sharp horn on his head, walked over quickly and said respectfully, "Fortunately you are here. Otherwise if that master gets angry because of this matter will be difficult to handle." Xia Xingchen nodded slightly, followed the Xianlong man, and walked into a huge building that towered like a church on the cloud. There were already more than a dozen people standing in the hall. Their mental powers were very strong, and some of them were spiritual beings. When they saw Xia Xingchen coming in, they all turned their heads and took a look. They obviously recognized the identity of King Iron Soul Spirit, and their faces showed disgust. Obviously, King Iron Soul Spirit's identity as a star pirate made these people quite disdainful. This made Xia Xingchen feel fortunate. The camouflage device he bought from Zingy cost a full 100 million points. The price was extremely expensive. It was said to be a high-end product smuggled from Huanao Company. You get what you pay for. For such an expensive price, the camouflage device is also very powerful. It can not only change the appearance and voice, but also imitate other people's mental fluctuations. Even a third-level galaxy strongman would find it difficult to tell. Mental fluctuations can be imitated, but it is too difficult to imitate speech and behavior. Fortunately, King Iron Soul Spirit has always been a loner, and has no friends. After Xia Xingchen entered the hall, he found an inconspicuous corner to stand, and soon everyone's attention shifted away from him. Chapter 1706 Enemies Meet. Muangsing. In a towering building above the clouds, Xia Xingchen, disguised as a green flame soul, stood in a corner. His eyes swept over the masters in the hall, and he was secretly shocked. I'm too weak. Xia Xingchen clenched his fists tightly, and once again deeply felt his weakness. The masters around him were all ferocious hungry wolves, and he was a sheep disguised as a wolf. Once his identity was exposed, Xia Xingchen would be torn to pieces by them immediately. Xia Xingchen's current situation was like dancing on the edge of a knife. In the Milky Way, I have always been very strong and fearless. But when I came to the heavenly realm, I was restricted and hunted everywhere. Any interstellar pirate is stronger than me. I can only rely on the camouflage device and the star-devouring worm queen Xiaobai to survive. Xia Xingchen thought about this question for a long time, and now he finally has an answer. In fact, it is not that Xia Xingchen himself is weak, but that his beast god Mecha has no technological advantage in the heavenly realm. In the celestial realm, mecha technology exists, but it is not well developed. You can also buy new mechas on the Universal Civilization website, but the money required is an astronomical figure. The beast god Mecha is the best in the Milky Way, but it is too weak in the celestial realm. For now, I can only endure the humiliation and join the Spacetime Academy first. Xia Xingchen has made a plan. If he is lucky enough to enter the Spacetime Academy, the first thing he will do is to try to get a new mecha to improve his combat effectiveness. The feeling of being hunted down is really too aggrieved. Just as Xia Xingchen was thinking, a figure walked into the hall surrounded by the crowd. Ah, the adults are here. The strong men in the hall were originally whispering, and when they saw the figure, they all fell silent and unconsciously showed panic on their faces. Xia Xingchen looked at the figure, and his body suddenly became extremely hard. This adult was Xia Xingchen's acquaintance, the leader of the Elder, Abel. In the preliminary examination, to become a celestial being, Abel did not hesitate to use up a celestial being quota as the price, tricked Xia Xingchen into his personal space, and tortured him constantly, trying to force him to tell the secret of the source of faith. When enemies meet, they are particularly jealous. Xia Xingchen took a deep breath, and tried his best to suppress the anger in his heart. The enemy is too powerful. Xia Xingchen can only endure. If he can't endure it, his identity will be exposed, and he will die. Abel seemed to feel the unusual mental fluctuations, and looked in the direction of Xia Xingchen. Lord Abel, what's wrong? A spiritual life with a blue body beside him asked respectfully. It's okay, maybe I'm too worried. Abel shook his head, walked to the stage, and waved to the people below the stage. Lord Abel. Everyone bowed and saluted, and Xia Xingchen followed the crowd and saluted, trying not to attract attention. You are all strong spiritual beings with powerful telepathic abilities. I summoned you all here to capture someone. Everyone, please look. Abel waved his hand, and the light in the air gathered, and finally condensed into a three-dimensional projection. It was Xia Xingchen's three-dimensional image. Next to the image, Xia Xingchen's basic information was written in small characters, including his origin, ability, combat level, and previous battle records. Below was a red symbol, which was the text of the Eternal God Clan, meaning, danger. Ah. This human is Xia Xingchen, who is being hunted by the Eternal God Clan. It is said that many dark web assassins tried to assassinate him, but all failed. Even the massacrer was killed by him. It's just a human of the first level of the galaxy. The strong men present were immediately furious, and talked about it. The Xianlan galaxy is extremely far away from the Zingi galaxy, but it is also within the scope of the Universal Civilization Network. The Eternal God Clan's bounty on Xia Xingchen has already caused an uproar on the Universal Civilization Network, and Xia Xingchen himself has become a hot topic. Every day, there are hundreds of millions of messages discussing this matter. Therefore, the Xianlan Galaxy Masters present had all heard of Xia Xingchen's name to some extent, and knew that he was being hunted by the eternal gods. However, it was also the first time that they saw such detailed information about Xia Xingchen. There is definite intelligence that Xia Xingchen has fled to the Xianlan Galaxy and wants to participate in the Spacetime Academy assessment through the portal of Muon Star. Abel continued, once Xia Xingchen passes the Spacetime Academy assessment, even the eternal gods will be helpless against him. This is why I came all the way here. What? Xia Xingchen has fled to the Xianlan Galaxy? Just because he, a humble native of the Milky Way, wants to pass the Spacetime Academy assessment? It's really wishful thinking. Haha, the Spacetime Academy assessment is so difficult. How could he pass it? The masters burst into laughter, thinking that Xia Xingchen's chance of passing the Spacetime Academy assessment was slim. I also think that Xia Xingchen's chance of passing the assessment of the Spacetime Academy is less than 1 in 1,000. However, the noble Eternal Protoss does not seem to think so. After Xia Xingchen killed the Slayer, the Eternal Protoss raised his rating from threat to dangerous. It is the first time in nearly 10,000 years that a galaxy's first level rating has been raised to a dangerous rating. The Eternal Protoss has also sent an adult who is on his way here. Our task is to seal the Muon Star portal tightly before the adult arrives. Find out the identity of every assessor and don't let Xia Xingchen get in. Once the adult from the Eternal Protoss arrives at the Xianlan Galaxy, Xia Xingchen will definitely die. Abel explained, you are all good at mental induction and should be able to complete this task. After the task is completed, you will benefit from it. If anyone can capture Xia Xingchen or find his whereabouts, the Eternal Protoss will have other rewards. You should all know that the Eternal Protoss has always been generous and will never treat you unfairly. Capture a galaxy's first level and you will get a reward from the Eternal Protoss. Where can I find such a good thing that falls from the sky? In fact, the eternal gods are not generous, but because they are so powerful, the garbage that others casually discarded is also a rare treasure in our hands. The strong men present were all happy. Lord Abel, I don't understand something. A spiritual life with white light all over his body suddenly stepped forward and asked, why don't we just close the portal of Muon Star, or prohibit anyone from approaching? Why take the risk of finding out the identities of the examinees one by one, and giving Xia Xingchen an opportunity to take advantage of it? You have just become a celestial being not long ago. Abel glanced at this life form. Xia Xingchen is not the only one who participated in the assessment of the Spacetime Academy. Moreover, those who are qualified for the assessment are all strong people in the universe. In order to capture Xia Xingchen, we have strengthened the inspection, which has caused dissatisfaction among many people. Closing the portal, you thought of it. Chapter 1707, Temple of Time and Space. Sir, I understand. The spiritual life knew that he had spoken out of turn, and quickly retreated, lowering his head, and not daring to say anything more. This is the basic situation. Now I will start to divide the groups into groups of 3. There will be no group leader, and anyone can report to me at any time. Abel said. Xia Xingchen stood in the crowd, frowning slightly. Abel's words also had another meaning, which was to let them monitor each other. After all, Abel did not trust Xia Xingchen and his group 100%. I must be careful. Keep a low profile as much as possible. Xia Xingchen said in his heart. Soon, all the spiritual life present were divided into groups of 3 people, a total of 12 groups. The 12 groups were divided into 3 large groups, taking turns to be responsible for the security of the portal and thoroughly checking the examinees entering the Spacetime Academy. After the groups were divided, they were taken to a building nearby to rest. Each person had a room, and the waiter could deliver Mu Yangxing's food at any time. Xia Xingchen was not interested in Mu Yangxing's food. He asked for some water, closed the door and waited quietly. 30 hours later, someone knocked on the door. It was a member of Xia Xingchen's group. A silver ball of light that flickered stood in front of the door and shouted, King Iron Soul, don't sleep. It's time for our group to work. Yes. Xia Xingchen opened the door with a cold face and followed the silver ball of light to the square in front. 3 large groups, a total of 9 people, had gathered in the square and entered a spherical spaceship in order. After a while, the spherical spaceship started, passed through the clouds, and flew towards the ground of Muon Star. The location of the portal is underground, about 10,000 meters underground. A neatly built metal tunnel leads to the location of the portal. Both sides of the tunnel are heavily guarded and well equipped. Armed Qianlong Empire soldiers can be seen everywhere. There are also some strange looking aircraft that keep shuttling in the tunnel, as if they are transporting supplies. Among the soldiers, there are many first and second level strongmen of the galaxy, and fewer third level strongmen, but every time you pass a checkpoint, there will be a third level strongman in charge. As for the black hole level masters, there is not even one. Xia Xingchen has been in the heavenly human realm for quite some time, and has a preliminary understanding of the power system of the heavenly human realm. There is an obvious watershed from the galaxy level to the black hole level. From the first to the third level of the galaxy level, as long as you have money, you can quickly upgrade by purchasing enough resources on the universal civilization network. However, black hole level masters cannot be built up with money and resources. There are many masters with inheritance and adventures in the universe, such as Thunder Dragon and Slayer. Their adventures are amazing, but they have not been able to break through to the black hole level after reaching the third level of the galaxy. This shows how rare black hole level masters are. As for why Xiaobei only swallowed 9 dream fruits and was promoted to the black hole level, Xia Xingchen has not figured it out yet, but he guessed that it should be related to the bloodline of the star-devouring insect. Xia Xingchen once asked Carlos if there were any star-devouring insect groups in the heavenly human realm. After checking, Carlos got the answer that there were none. In other words, the Star Devourer group only exists behind the Infinite Star Abyss, a secret realm in the Milky Way. Except for the Infinite Star Abyss, there are no Star Devourers in other star regions. In short, Star Devourers are like humans, an alien species in the world of heaven and man. Looking at the rows of soldiers in the tunnel, Xia Xingchen sat on the spaceship and sighed in his heart. If he hadn't had an idea and pretended to be a king iron soul, even if he could find a way to sneak into the interior of Muon Star, he would not be able to pass through the tunnel. The guards are too strict. We have arrived at the destination. Please get off the ship. The spaceship stopped, and an electronic voice rose. Xia Xingchen walked behind the crowd, got off the spaceship, and saw a towering temple in front of him. There are many profound symbols and patterns engraved on the stone pillars of the temple. Xia Xingchen didn't recognize these patterns, but he felt vaguely that these patterns contained the mysteries of time and space. This is the Temple of Time and Space, and the portal to the Academy of Time and Space is located in the temple. After walking up tens of thousands of steps, Xia Xingchen and several other spiritual beings entered the temple and saw a portal emitting green light in front of them. On the other side of the portal, it seemed to be a distorted universe. The location of the Spacetime Academy is still a secret. No one has entered the Spacetime Academy in any other way, except through the portal. Some people also said that the location of the Spacetime Academy is not in the universe, but in another time and space, an independent dimension. A laser protection net is set up 100 meters around the portal, and there is only one entrance. Abel and 3 strong spirits are guarding the entrance. They exude a terrifying aura faintly, as if they have the power to devour everything. Including Abel, these 4 are black hole level masters. 4 black hole level masters are responsible for the last procedure of the portal. Xia Xingchen's heart sank. It is estimated that even a fly cannot fly in with this formation. Xia Xingchen and the other 8 spiritual beings do not have the authority to enter the laser protection net and approach the portal. They are responsible for using mental power to detect the mental fluctuations of the examiner in front of the temple door and verify the examiner's identity. At the last step, is it possible that we will fail? Xia Xingchen frowned secretly, but he could not think of any other way. He could only work while quietly observing the situation inside the laser protection net. Gua, a Tam person from Jishan Star, your identity is fine, you can pass. There was a long line on the steps of the temple, with hundreds of people. An amphibian humanoid who looked like a frog had just passed the review and entered the laser protection net. He walked to the portal and raised a time-space badge. The green light on the time-space badge flashed, and Gua disappeared. He didn't know how many time and space he had traveled through and entered the space where the time-space gate was located. One by one, the examinees passed and entered the portal. I'm sorry, the Honorable Black Hole Level Strongman Fobon, you don't meet the assessment requirements of this time-space academy. Please go back. Abel walked out in person and stood in front of an energy body life-emitting golden light. Why? I have come here through the vast space. How can I just leave like this? I need a reason. Fobon's body is made of pure energy. Due to anger, many fluctuations appear on the surface of his body, like ripples. Because you are too strong. The assessment of the Spacetime Academy this time is only for the strong ones at the galaxy level. You do not meet the rules. Please go back. Of course, you can give the Spacetime badge to your juniors and let them try. You can also sell it. We, the spiritual race, are willing to pay a high price for the badge. Abel said with a smile. Too strong Fobon was helpless. He had heard a little about the assessment conditions of the Spacetime Academy. Every time, the assessment conditions of the Spacetime Academy would change. Last time, the black hole level could still participate. But this time, he was not qualified. I have no descendants. Since I can't participate, I will sell the badge to you. But you must give me a suitable price. Fobon said coldly. Don't worry. My price will definitely satisfy you. Abel was overjoyed and said quickly. Chapter 1708, Breaking Out of Despair. Energy body Fobon was willing to sell the time and space badge, which made Abel very excited. You know, the time and space badge is a must-have item for participating in the assessment of the Space-Time Academy. Joining the Space-Time Academy is a great opportunity. If you can enter the academy by chance, you will be able to ascend to heaven in one step. Moreover, even if you cannot participate in this assessment, you can wait for a few years. When the next assessment comes, the time and space badge can still be used. Therefore, most of the celestial beings are unwilling to sell the time and space badge. Abel has also persuaded several black hole level strongmen to retreat in the past few days. But Fobon is the first one who is willing to sell the badge. The lifespan of black hole level celestial beings is long. Fobon is an energy body, and his lifespan is calculated in tens of thousands of years. After Fobon became an energy body, he lost his fertility and had no offspring. The most important thing is that Fobon also has another inheritance, which he thinks is no less than the Space-Time Academy. Due to these reasons, Fobon decided to sell the time and space badge to Abel in exchange for a large amount of resources, and left Muangxing contentedly. Finally bought a badge. It's not easy. Abel held the badge in his hand and felt a sense of emotion in his heart. Baku, come here. Abel waved to a third level elder, asking him to come to his side. Chief. Baku, our elder, came over and bowed. He looked similar to Abel, but much younger, and his spiritual fluctuations were full of vitality. Baku, you are the most outstanding genius in my elder. After just 200 years of practice, you have already entered the third level of the galaxy. You have the greatest chance of passing the Spacetime Academy, so this Spacetime badge is given to you. The evolutionary path of our elder was cut off by Xia Xingchen, and the race declined, and was on the verge of destruction. You have a great responsibility, and are responsible for the fate and future of the race. Therefore, you must pass the assessment, become a member of the Spacetime Academy, and find a new evolutionary path for the Elder. Abel said with a solemn expression. Chief, I, Baku, will bear the mission of the race, and will not hesitate to die. Baku knelt down, and took the Spacetime badge with both hands, his body trembling with excitement. For Baku, being qualified to take the Spacetime Academy assessment is also a great opportunity. Chief. The Lord of the Eternal God Clan sent a message and has arrived. A spirit race celestial being stepped forward and said to Abel. He's here. Great. Once that lord arrives, Xia Xingchen will never be able to sneak into the Spacetime Academy from Muan Star. Abel was pleasantly surprised and personally led people to greet him. After a while, Abel and several other spirit race celestial beings surrounded a towering giant emitting golden light and came to the front of the Spacetime Temple. Lord Yeager, this is the Spacetime Temple. Abel said to the golden giant with a flattering face. Yes. The giant nodded slightly, with thunderous light emitting from his eyes, and looked towards the Spacetime Temple. Ah. It's the great Eternal God Clan. Lord Xia, who is beyond the black hole level, is a cosmic level. He's simply a god. The energy fluctuations emitted from his body can turn us all into dust. There were many examinees standing on the steps leading to the space-time temple. When they saw the golden giant, they were all stunned and quickly knelt down to worship. Xia Xingchen stood at the entrance of the temple of time and space. When he saw the eternal god Xia, he was shocked. It's bad. Xia, a cosmic level strongman, was so powerful that he had entered a realm that Xia Xingchen could not understand. Xia Xingchen's camouflage device could hide Abel, but it could not hide Xia at all. In Xia's thunderous gaze, Xia Xingchen felt that he had nowhere to hide. This was indeed the case. Xia saw Xia Xingchen at the entrance of the temple at a glance. He opened his mouth and laughed like thunder. He raised his big hand and pointed in the direction of Xia Xingchen. Isn't Xia Xingchen right in front of us? Catch him. Whoosh. A ball of golden energy flew out from Xia's fingertips and shot towards Xia Xingchen. But, however, a translucent protective shield suddenly appeared around the temple of time and space, which directly bounced the golden energy away and hit the stone above the cave, causing a huge explosion. The defensive position of this space-time temple is so strong that even I can't break it. Xia was a little surprised. Xia Xingchen. Catch Xia Xingchen. Stop him. Don't let him escape. Abel and others quickly reacted and shouted while flying towards the space-time temple. In the space-time temple, the guards were all bewildered, stunned on the spot, looking at each other, carefully guarding against each other, suspecting that the other party was Xia Xingchen in disguise. Several black hole level masters in the laser protection net were also alert. There was a blockade in front and a pursuer behind. In an instant, Xia Xingchen fell into a desperate situation. Catch him. He is Xia Xingchen. Xia Xingchen reacted very quickly. He suddenly had an idea and pointed at an examiner who had just passed the review and was about to enter the portal and shouted and rushed towards the examiner. Me. Xia Xingchen? The examiner was a tall mechanical race with a confused look on his face. It's him. Catch him. Several black hole level warriors responded and rushed over to subdue the examiner directly. With the help of these few microseconds of chaos, Xia Xingchen took the opportunity to rush into the protective net. When he arrived in front of the portal, he took out the badge and activated it. But, green light surged out of the portal, covering Xia Xingchen's body. No. He is Xia Xingchen. He fooled me. Oh no. Several black hole level warriors had just subdued the examiner. When they felt the portal generate fluctuations, they looked up and saw Xia Xingchen removing his disguise. The time and space badge had been activated, and the green light had covered his whole body. It was too late. Xia Xingchen. Eternal Protest Xia teleported to the interior of the time and space temple. Seeing that Xia Xingchen had already started to teleport, he let out an angry roar. The great eternal Proteus, the great existence of the universe, actually let a tiny bug of the galaxy level escape from his fingers. Xia felt like he was slapped hard in the face and was extremely humiliated. Abel and others appeared in front of the temple of time and space at this time, their faces full of astonishment and panic. Everyone. Goodbye. Xia Xingchen showed a smile on his face, and his eyes swept over Abel, Xia and others. Seeing them angry and humiliated, but helpless against him, he felt indescribably happy in his heart. Whoosh. Xia Xingchen was sucked into the portal, turned into a ray of light, and flew towards the depths of endless time and space. Inside the temple of time and space, there was a deathly silence. Arsehole. I don't know how long it was silent, and the entire Muon star echoed with Xia's angry roar like thunder. Xia Xingchen. Xia, swear to kill you. I must kill you. Chapter 1709 Deathlight Planet. Whoosh. Xia Xingchen's eyes were full of dazzling golden light, as if he was traveling through a tunnel made of golden light. I don't know how long it took. Xia Xingchen opened his eyes and found himself on a blood-red planet. The clouds above the planet were extremely thick, showing a dark red color, and red thunder fell from time to time. The sky could not be seen, let alone any stars. Xia Xingchen's positioning device was also disturbed, so he could not determine the position of this planet in the universe. Under his feet was a dark golden metal plate, 10 kilometers long and wide, suspended 1 meter above the ground. In the center of the metal floor, there was a suspended dark golden diamond-shaped object, 30 meters high, full of mystery. On the metal plate, in addition to Xia Xingchen, there were many celestial beings who participated in the assessment. Like Xia Xingchen, they all showed confusion on their faces and looked at the planet and the diamond-shaped object in the center of the metal plate with curiosity. Obviously, these assessors had just been teleported here. We entered the portal at different times, some first and some later, but we arrived at the same time. Xia Xingchen frowned slightly. It should be that when the teleportation was in progress, everyone's time and space were synchronized, so they arrived at the same time. This matter is simple to say, but extremely difficult to do. Only by mastering the profound secrets of time and space can it be done. But the diamond-shaped object suddenly glowed, and a projection of an old man in a white robe appeared in the air. Welcome everyone. Come to participate in the assessment of the Space-Time Academy. I'm the chief examiner this time. You can call me Supervisor number 7. The old man's powerful voice echoed between heaven and earth. Supervisor number 7? Weird name. It's the examiner of the Space-Time Academy. Let's go. Hurry over. It's time to talk about the test questions this time. Everyone was talking in a low voice and ran quickly towards the direction of the diamond-shaped object. Yeah. Xia Xingchen was sandwiched in the crowd and walked towards the center. However, he suddenly saw a spirit race celestial being not far ahead looking at him coldly. Elf race genius Baku. Xia Xingchen immediately understood that Abel had given the time and space badge to Baku and asked him to go through the portal to hunt him down. In addition to Baku, there were 2 elder celestials following Baku, casting malicious eyes at Xia Xingchen. Obviously, after Abel bought the first time and space badge, he managed to get 2 more time and space badges and asked the 2 elder celestials to help Baku get rid of him. With the strength of the elder, it is extremely difficult to get 3 time and space badges. It should be the eternal protest teacher who helped Abel get the remaining 2 badges. In addition to Baku's 3 elder celestials, there are many people among these examinees who want to please the eternal protest. Baku raised his arm and called, and dozens of people would immediately surround him to deal with Xia Xingchen together. It's really haunting. Xia Xingchen frowned tightly. He had already escaped here, but the enemy still didn't give up and continued to hunt him down. It was really too much. Baku, let's get rid of him now. Behind Baku, a spirit race celestial being looked at Xia Xingchen with murderous intent in his eyes and whispered, "No hurry. The primary goal of the 3 of us is to pass the assessment of the Space-Time Academy and then to kill Xia Xingchen. Don't put the cart before the horse. Besides, there are too many people here, so it's not convenient to take action. And the supervisor of the Space-Time Academy is watching. Be patient. Anyway, Xia Xingchen has nowhere to escape." Baku is an extremely calm and thoughtful person, although he also wants to kill Xia Xingchen immediately. But the situation is not clear for the time being, so he decided to be patient for the time being. Baku smiled coldly, and his right thumb slowly crossed his neck, made a throat-cutting gesture to Xia Xingchen, and turned to walk towards the direction of the diamond-shaped object. He didn't even make a move. Xia Xingchen's heart sank. From Baku, Xia Xingchen saw a trace of Onrei's shadow. Cunning as a fox, cruel as a wolf. In fact, Xia Xingchen is not afraid of those arrogant and domineering young men. The universe is full of dangers. If you are too arrogant, you will die without knowing how you died. The most difficult ones are people like Baku who know how to endure and are very cunning. There is no way. I can only take one step at a time. Xia Xingchen took a deep breath and walked towards the diamond-shaped object. Don't worry, everyone. Let me introduce the planet we are on. This is closely related to your assessment. We are on a Deathlight planet. Supervisor number 7 said with a smile. Deathlight planet. All the assessors present were stunned, and Xia Xingchen was also slightly startled. The so-called Deathlight is the abbreviation of Death Ray. As the name suggests, once this light shines on a life, it will cause death. For humans, the Deathlight in a broad sense is laser. However, for celestial beings, the power of laser is not great. Many celestial beings have strong bodies and completely ignore the damage caused by laser. For celestial beings, the death light is a lethal light with destructive power far exceeding that of laser, also known as the cosmic death light. This cosmic death ray is extremely terrifying. Even a black hole level warrior will die immediately once it is irradiated. Among the 10 peak gods, there is a race called Tita that is good at technology. Their super weapons are death ray guns and death ray cannons, which are extremely powerful. The Slayer was irradiated by a cosmic death ray, and his body mutated, and the death ray energy surged in his body. However, the Slayer was only irradiated by a death ray, and his body functions were completely destroyed, so he barely survived. But the planet, where Xia Xingchen and his friends are located, is full of cosmic death rays, which is a real-life forbidden zone. Hearing the words of the supervisor, there was a commotion among the crowd. Don't be nervous, the area you are in is safe. The metal under your feet is called dark gold, which can shield the death ray energy. The area where the dark gold plate is located is your safe zone. In the safe zone, all fighting is prohibited. Violators will be annihilated immediately. I remind you again, any life form that uses any form of force in the safe zone will be annihilated immediately. Supervisor number 7 looked solemn and repeatedly emphasized, your task is very simple. There are many dark gold ores in this dead light planet. If you collect 10,000 kilograms of dark gold ores within the specified time, you can pass the assessment and become a member of the Spacetime Academy. The supervisor said. Collect dark gold ores? Everyone was stunned. But, outside the safe zone is the cosmic deadlight. How can we leave the safe zone and collect ores? Haha, don't worry. The supervisor laughed. In front of this diamond-shaped crystal, in addition to submitting dark gold ores, you can also exchange for many cosmic treasures that cannot be bought in the outside world. Swish. The beams of light above the safe zone converged and turned into a huge light screen, on which were a large number of pictures and various treasures. Dazzling people. Chapter 1710 Amazing Treasure. A huge light screen appeared above the safe zone, with all kinds of treasures on it. Thousands of them. Technology, body, spirit, including various treasures of the 3 promotion routes, arranged according to the total amount of dark gold, or acquired by each, a total of 1024 pieces. Most treasures can only be exchanged once, and some treasures can be exchanged repeatedly. For example, the last treasure is a device called Small Death Light Protector. The exchange price is 500 kilograms of dark gold ore, and the number of copies that can be exchanged is 8,000. Of course, everyone will not pay attention to this kind of treasure ranked at the bottom for the time being, and they are all staring at the top treasures. No 1 black hole class large spaceship, no 2 black hole class bloodline potion, and 0.3 long distance stellar energy transmission technology. Everyone stared at the screen without blinking and was all stunned. Horrible. Too horrible. If I can exchange for the top 3 treasures, can I be promoted to the black hole level? Let alone the top 3. For example, how much does this 500th black hole level warblade cost on the Universal Civilization Network? It is estimated to be tens of billions of universal coins. If I sell this warblade, I can become the richest man in the galaxy. All the examiners present had strange lights in their eyes when they saw these treasures. Xia Xingchen looked at the treasures on the screen with his eyes wide open, his mouth open, and his heart could not calm down for a long time. Most of the treasures that can be exchanged can only be used by black hole level. Treasures of this level are extremely rare even on the Universal Civilization Network, which is known to have everything, and the price is also very expensive. However, the Spacetime Academy actually took these rare treasures to a trial, and allowed people who are not members of the Spacetime Academy to exchange them at will. This shows how rich the Spacetime Academy is. TSK, it's worthy of being the Spacetime Academy. In Xia Xingchen's mind, Ying Leo couldn't help but say, the top 3 treasures can all provide black hole level combat power. The treasures behind are also very good. However, the difficulty of exchange should be very high. Even if it is the Spacetime Academy, it is impossible to give these things to you for free. By the way, Xingchen, which treasure do you like? Xia Xingchen licked his lips and stared at an item on the screen. Number 11, Gufeng Mecha, black hole level mecha. The mecha Xia Xingchen wanted to exchange the most was this mecha. From the picture, it is hard to see the special features of the mecha, but from the configuration on the side, Xia Xingchen was shocked. Apart from anything else, this Gufeng mecha was actually equipped with a galaxy-level space jump engine. In other words, as long as the energy is enough, Xia Xingchen can jump directly from the Xianlan galaxy back to the Milky Way. The distance between the Xianlan galaxy and the Milky Way is 40 million light years. Jump back instantly. What a powerful technology. Compared with the black hole class Lone Peak Mech, Xia Xingchen's Beast God Mech is just like a child's toy, totally unpresentable. However, the Lone Peak Mech should be difficult to exchange. There are several mech weapons behind, all very powerful. Maybe I can find a way to exchange. Xia Xingchen was so excited that he clenched his hands tightly. Haha, everyone is satisfied with these treasures, right? Supervisor number 7 laughed. You should have noticed that no 1024 is a death ray protection device, and the exchange price is 500 kilograms of dark gold ore. Its energy source is dark gold ore, and it consumes 100 kilograms of dark gold ore every hour. Each of you assessors will get a free share of 1000 kilograms of dark gold ore, which can be used to exchange for death ray protection devices. Of course, if you are confident in your body, you can choose not to exchange. But I don't recommend you to do so. One person has a free share of 1000 kilograms and exchanged it for a death ray protection device. The remaining 500 kilograms of dark gold ore can only keep the system running for 5 hours. In other words, we must find new dark gold ore within 5 hours. Xia Xingchen thought to himself. For a completely unfamiliar and dangerous planet, 5 hours is really too little. This shows that the assessment of the Spacetime Academy is extremely difficult. This death ray protection device, exchange or not, many assessors were considering it. Xia Xingchen had already walked to the diamond-shaped crystal and exchanged for a small death ray protection device. Xia Xingchen didn't need to consider this problem at all. The human body is too weak, and the Beast God Mecha is not equipped with a death ray protection device. Xia Xingchen will die immediately if he leaves the safe zone. Therefore, Xia Xingchen must exchange. After Xia Xingchen exchanged, many celestial beings woke up, as if from a dream, and hurried over to exchange for death ray protection devices. 10 minutes later, 8,000 death ray protection devices were exchanged. There were more than 2,000 examinees who were late, but they could not exchange, and they were all stunned. Supervisor. The death ray protection devices have been exchanged. A Zerg celestial being was dissatisfied, and the big pincers in both hands were waved angrily. Haha, it's the first come first served. You can think of other ways to buy the death ray protection devices from others. However, the use of force is prohibited in the safe zone. Well, I have finished the content of the assessment. I wish you all good luck. After the supervisor finished speaking, his figure suddenly disappeared. Damn it, what is this? The Zerg Celestial was in a bad mood, and his huge pincers smashed towards a diamond-shaped crystal. With a slight sound, the body of the Zerg Celestial began to dissipate, turning into the most basic molecules, and annihilating in space. It's really annihilated. How stupid. The old man said that no violence can be used in the safe zone. The Celestials around were all shocked and scattered, with frightened faces. Seeing the annihilation and death of the Zerg Celestial, the Elder Celestial Baku and his 2 men were also stunned. At the same time, Baku secretly rejoiced that fortunately he had not attacked Xia Xingchen just now. Otherwise, it would not be this Zerg Celestial who would be annihilated first, but them. Baku, we can't attack in the safe zone. What should we do? The other 2 Elder Celestials asked with lingering fear. Of course, we will wait until Xia Xingchen leaves, and then we will attack outside. Baku said. What if Xia Xingchen doesn't leave, and stays in the safe zone? That would be great. Xia Xingchen will never be able to collect 10,000 kilograms of dark gold ore, and pass the test. As long as he fails to pass the test, he will return to Mu Iron Star after the test. There, Chief Fable and Lord Yeager are waiting for him. Baku sneered. In Baku's view, no matter what choice Xia Xingchen makes, he will die. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel. Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 1711, The Star Spirit Clan. Deathlight Planet. After the image of Supervisor number 7 disappeared, the trial officially began. In the safe area, 10,000 examinees stood on the metal plates made of dark gold ore. Most of them looked at each other in bewilderment, not knowing what to do next. There were also a few people, like Xia Xingchen, who walked to the edge of the safe area, found a place with few people, classified and analyzed the information they collected, and designated an action plan. The information that has been confirmed now is that the strength of the 10,000 examinees is at the galaxy level, and there is no super combat power such as black hole level. The location is a dangerous deathlight planet. The mission goal is to find dark gold mines. Each examinee can get 1,000 kilograms of dark gold mines for free. But among the 10,000 examinees, only 8,000 have deathlight protection devices. Xia Xingchen's eyes swept over the examinees in the safe area. Most of them looked calm, and a few were dejected. This small number of people were the examinees who did not exchange for deathlight protection devices. Directly eliminate 2,000 examinees? Xia Xingchen frowned slightly. He keenly realized that the trial rules of the Spacetime Academy were not fair, and there seemed to be some tricks. What's the trick? Xia Xingchen held his chin, looked at the crowd, and thought silently. Well, most of the 2,000 celestial beings who didn't exchange for the death ray protection device are Zerg, mechanical, and a small number of human beings on the physical side. They think their bodies are strong, and don't need to exchange for the death protection device. When they are hesitating, the opportunity is gone in a flash. Xia Xingchen found a commonality from this group of people. But, can their strong bodies resist the death ray? Xia Xingchen was a little curious. I can't help it. I want to try. With my strong body, I can definitely resist the death ray. A Zerg celestial being who was like a crab did not exchange for the death ray protection device. His patience was not good. At this moment, he could no longer bear it. He made up his mind and walked out of the safe zone with courage. Haha, isn't it okay? It's so scary. This Zerg celestial being was a little scared at first and only dared to try within 100 meters of the safe zone. Once there was any disturbance, he immediately fled back to the safe zone. But nothing unusual happened, so the Zerg celestial being became bolder and began to try to leave the safe zone and walk further away. However, the Zerg celestial being had just walked 500 meters when he fell to the ground and never got up again. On the other side, a mechanical celestial being, relying on his own body, tried to do the same thing as the Zerg celestial being. After walking just a few hundred meters, he lost control of his body and began to run wild. It was obvious that the consciousness stored in the database had been completely annihilated. Hiss. A sound of people sucking in cold air rang out in the safe zone. The danger of the death ray planet was beyond everyone's expectations. Whether it was the Zerg with their strong bodies or the mechanical celestial beings with their iron bodies, they could not resist the death ray. The most terrifying thing was that no one even saw what the death ray was like. The Zerg and mechanical celestial beings were unknowingly affected by the death ray and died quietly. Celestial beings are already top life forms in the universe. However, in front of the vast universe, celestial beings are still insignificant. The celestial beings who did not use the death ray protection device died one after another, and several celestial beings who had the death ray protection device bravely went outside the safe zone to explore. They were all safe, which showed that the death ray protection device was very effective. For a time, the safe zone, which had seemed a bit dull, became active again. I'm the Prince of Xia Xingchen. I swear in the name of the royal family that I will spend 100 million universe coins to buy your death ray protection device. A short human creature with a single horn on his head walked up to Xia Xingchen and said seriously, "Not for sale." Xia Xingchen refused directly. The death ray protection device is a key item to pass the assessment of the Spacetime Academy. It is too naive for this Prince of Xia Xingchen to want to buy it for 100 million universe coins. 200 million. I will offer 200 million universe coins. Seeing Xia Xingchen's refusal, the prince quickly raised the price. Xia Xingchen still shook his head. 1 billion. I'll give you 1 billion. Prince Qiuxing gritted his teeth. This price is already the limit. Someone just bought one for only 800 million universe coins. Once the assessment is over, I will transfer the money to your account immediately. Sorry, I won't sell it, no matter how much you offer. Xia Xingchen still shook his head. Transfer the money after the assessment? Not to mention that Xia Xingchen has the sailing star and the dream fruit. He doesn't even care about the mere 10 billion universe coins. If Xia Xingchen fails the assessment, what awaits him is the wrath of the eternal gods and the elder. He will surely die. If he doesn't even have a life, what's the use of having more money? Not to mention 10 billion. Even if it's 10 billion or 100 billion, Xia Xingchen won't sell it. Prince Qiuxing obviously didn't understand Xia Xingchen's thoughts. He looked at Xia Xingchen with a rather resentful look, left silently, and went to find other people to buy the death ray protection device. My friend, you are a smart man. You didn't fall for that dwarf's trick. QIU dwarf, haha. The most despicable businessman in the universe is QIU dwarf's dwarf. An energy life with a shining body came over. She was tall and graceful, with a slender waist and a delicate face, like a goddess in human religion. Let me introduce myself. My name is Luna, Star Spirit Luna. Star Spirit. Xia Xingchen looked up at the female Star Spirit. He had fought with the Star Spirits in the dimensional magic cube of the Star Pirate King Roger. Of course, those Star Spirits are actually virtual images created by the dimensional magic cube, not real Star Spirits. The Star Spirits are a huge and powerful race in the heavenly world. Although they are not among the top 10 peak gods, they can definitely be ranked in the top 20. It is precisely because of this that Luna's tone is full of innate arrogance. Behind Luna, there are two human races, a mechanical race, and an energy life. Let me introduce you. This is our team. There are 5 of us now. And you, Xia Xingchen. I have heard of your name. You are a recognized strongman, a warrior who dares to resist the tyranny of the eternal Protoss. Therefore, I invite you to join my team and become the 6th person. Luna glanced at the 3 elder who were monitoring Xia Xingchen not far behind him and said contemptuously, as long as you join my team, I promise that those 3 despicable elder won't be able to hurt you in the slightest. Invite me to join the team? Xia Xingchen was stunned, looking at the beautiful Protoss woman in front of him in disbelief. You should know who I offended. It's the eternal Protoss. You have a relationship with me. Aren't you afraid of revenge from the eternal Protoss? Of course not. The Protoss have always been at odds with the eternal Protoss. Luna said, in fact, I have a very high status among the Protoss, and the eternal Protoss would never dare to touch me. Chapter 1712. Sucker. Oh. Xia Xingchen raised his eyebrows slightly, looking at this beautiful star spirit with a graceful figure with interest, and seemed to be a little moved. He asked, besides safety, what are the benefits of joining your team? I'm more concerned about how you can gather the dark gold ore we need. It's very simple. The resources are concentrated and given to the strongest person, that is, me, to search on the planet. Luna said directly. One person only has 500 kilograms of dark gold ore and can only maintain the protective equipment for 5 hours, which is too short. We have analyzed the composition of dark gold ore. This is a new type of ore. The mineral detector cannot produce a reaction. It can only be slowly searched by mental induction. Therefore, all the dark gold ore on you is given to me. After I find the vein, I will distribute the dark gold ore in the vein equally to you. What do we need to do? Xia Xingchen said lightly. We don't need to take any risks. We just need to wait in the safe zone for you to bring back the dark gold ore? Yes. Luna nodded. Haha, do you think my head is big? Xia Xingchen suddenly sneered. What do you mean? Luna was stunned. You want to take me for a fool? Sorry, you got the wrong person. Xia Xingchen looked at Star Spirit Luna calmly. It's okay if you want me to join. I have one condition, that is, give me all the ores on you, and I will go to the planet to look for them. After I find them, I will share them with you. How about it? Do you agree? Luna's face flushed, her eyes flashed. She glared at Xia Xingchen fiercely and said angrily, why should I give it to you? This is the team I formed. Besides, you are just a first level galaxy. Your strength is too weak. Why should we believe you? Luna, I don't believe you either. Xia Xingchen shrugged his shoulders, turned around and left, leaving Star Spirit Luna and the others looking at his back in astonishment and anger. Luna, he saw through us. A human walked up and whispered beside Star Spirit. No wonder this guy was able to escape from the hands of the eternal gods. He is really smart and alert. However, smart people often die early. Luna stared at Xia Xingchen fiercely and said, he is a first level star system, and he is being stared at by 3 people from the Elder. He is doomed to die. There is no need for us to be angry with a dead man. Let's go and find the next target. Funny. These dark gold ores are my lifeline. How can I easily give them to strangers? Do I really look so easy to fool? I have seen too many such tricks of getting something for nothing. Xia Xingchen walked into the crowd and quietly watched the group of Star Spirit Luna. They found another human who looked a bit honest and a bit like a toad and lobbied him to join the team together. The toad-like human looked at Luna and the others warily, shook his head and walked away. After changing 3 targets in a row, Luna and her group have not succeeded. The races that can be promoted to celestial beings are the best in their respective galaxies. The celestial beings who are qualified to participate in the assessment of the Academy of Space and Time are even more outstanding among the celestial beings. Luna and her group are clearly a bunch of liars who want to cheat the dark gold, or in the hands of the examinees. Their idea is very simple. Each of them has at least 500 kilograms of ore. They only need to attract 20 people to join their team to get 10,000 kilograms of dark gold ore to pass the assessment. In the entire safe zone, there are a total of 10,000 examinees. It should not be difficult to find 20 celestial beings with poor brains. The celestial world is really dangerous. Xia Xingchen watched from the side and couldn't help shaking his head. There are not only arrogant enemies here, but also liars who are hard to guard against. In this cruel universe, deception is also a means of making a living. However, this is a means for the weak. Xia Xingchen was very disdainful. He looked in the direction behind him. Only one of the 3 elder celestial beings was still watching him. Baku and another companion didn't want to continue to waste time on Xia Xingchen, so they left the safe zone to look for dark gold ore. Baku left for 43 minutes and 24 seconds. It's almost time. Xia Xingchen silently read all this information. He knew the time when Baku left to the second. Let's go. Look for dark gold ore. Xia Xingchen decisively took out the beast god mecha from the portable space, and the colorful wings behind him flapped, turning into a stream of light, and flying out of the safe zone, flying towards the depths of the dead light planet. Baku, Ike. Xia Xingchen left the safe zone. Repeat. Xia Xingchen left the safe zone. I'm following him, you guys come immediately. The elder celestial being who had been in charge of keeping watch saw Xia Xingchen suddenly leave the safe zone, and immediately turned into a stream of light and followed him, and sent a message to his companions. Bro, you follow Xia Xingchen, and keep your distance from him. Don't conflict with him. Although he is a first level galaxy, don't forget that he once killed the Slayer. Baku was flying in the sky, sensing the dark gold veins underground. It had been nearly an hour, and he still had nothing, so he was a little impatient. After receiving the message from his companion, he showed a hint of joy on his face and quickly replied, understood. Bro followed the beast god mech carefully, keeping a distance. Whoosh. After receiving the message, Baku and Ike flew towards Bro's direction, as soon as possible, ready to intercept Xia Xingchen. There is a light spot behind me, following me all the time. It should be that elder celestial being. When I slow down, he also slows down. When I speed up, he also speeds up. He is chasing me very closely. I can't get rid of him. Xia Xingchen was on the mech, looking at the light spot on the screen, frowning slightly. He should be waiting for his companions. The spirit race is indeed a wretched race. Xia Xingchen smiled coldly. However, I have long known the nature of the spirit race, and his every move is within my expectations. Xiaobai. Xia Xingchen communicated with Xiaobai in the portable space through soul induction. Are you sure you can't leave the portable space and go to this planet? Yes, Master. I feel that this planet is very dangerous. My body cannot resist the lethal light on the planet. In addition, I also feel that there is a pair of eyes watching this planet. Once a combat force exceeding the black hole level appears, it will be wiped out immediately. Therefore, I can't help you in the battle. Sorry, master. Xiaobei apologized in a low voice. It doesn't matter, this is also within my expectations. Xia Xingchen's tone was relaxed. He can bring spirit beasts, and others can also bring spirit beasts. Then the rule of the Space-Time Academy, that only those below the black hole level can participate in the assessment, will be broken. The Space-Time Academy is one of the most powerful forces in the universe, and naturally there will not be such a big loophole in the rules. Since Xiaobei cannot participate in the battle, Xia Xingchen can only rely on his own strength to deal with Baku and the other two. Chapter 1713 Dark Gold Mine. Deathlight Planet. Xia Xingchen drove the beast god mech, and the speed increased to the extreme, like a stream of light flying across the sky. 3 light spots followed Xia Xingchen closely, chasing him relentlessly. Damn. This kid is running so fast. The elder celestial bro couldn't catch up for a while, and he was a little irritated. It's useless. His mech is getting slower and slower, and sooner or later we will catch up. Baku said in a deep voice. The super energy core of the beast god mech was already overloaded, and the speed was soaring to the limit, but it still couldn't get rid of Baku and the other two. As time goes by, the speed of the mech will get slower and slower. In the cockpit, Xia Xingchen was not in a hurry at all. The corners of his mouth raised, revealing a contemptuous smile, and whispered, "We have been running for nearly 2 hours. It's about time." Stop, stop. Baku seemed to have thought of something. His eyes flashed, and he shouted quickly, "What's wrong? Is there a trap ahead?" Impossible. Xia Xingchen is also a newcomer. How could there be a trap? Bro said curiously. How long have we been away from the safe zone? Baku asked. 2 hours. Bro checked the time and answered. I finally understand. Xia Xingchen wants to die with us. Baku gritted his teeth and said, we left the safe zone for 2 hours, and the death ray protection device only has 2 hours left. That is to say, if we continue to chase, even if we can kill Xia Xingchen, if we can't find the dark gold vein, we will die on the way back. Ah. Bro and the others also understood, with shock on their faces. Now there are 2 choices. One is to continue chasing and kill Xia Xingchen. The other is to return to the safe zone and kill Xia Xingchen near the safe zone. Baku said. Of course the second one. The first option is too dangerous. Bro and the others looked at each other and made a decision. It is extremely difficult for an ordinary life to be promoted to a celestial being. Most celestial beings are very cautious. The celestial beings of the spirit race cherish their lives even more. If they didn't hate Xia Xingchen to the bone, they would never risk chasing him. If they continue to chase him, they can certainly kill Xia Xingchen. However, the risk factor is too high, beyond the tolerance of Baku and the other two. On the contrary, Baku and the other two returned to the safe zone, where they could guard the safe zone and prevent Xia Xingchen from returning to the safe zone. This was a foolproof choice. At this moment, on the horizon at the end of the world, black clouds suddenly rose. In the clouds, there was a dazzling light that seemed to be flying through them like a dragon. It's a storm. A big storm is coming. Baku felt the violent energy contained in the storm and couldn't help trembling all over. The direction in which Xia Xingchen fled was exactly the direction in which the storm came. He's crazy. He actually rushed towards the storm. Crazy. Really crazy. Baku is right. He is risking his life to drag us down with him. We are not so stupid. No more chasing. The 3 spirits were all shocked and stopped in midair. Wait a minute. We will evacuate before the storm arrives. Baku said. The 3 waited in midair for a few minutes, watching the storm completely engulf Xia Xingchen with their own eyes, and all of them showed a sneer on their faces. Go back. This kid is dead for sure. Yeah. The 3 immediately fled the storm and returned to the safe zone. Whoosh. The storm was raging, and the sky and the earth were pitch black. The beast god Mecha flew crookedly in the storm, like a small boat in the sea, which could be destroyed and killed at any time. Beep. In the storm, the deathlight energy was raging, and the deathlight protection device on Xia Xingchen's body began to emit a harsh buzzing sound. In the storm, the consumption rate of dark gold ore is 10 times that outside. Xia Xingchen was secretly shocked when he saw that his dark gold ore reserves were rapidly decreasing. Originally, it could support 2 hours, but now there are less than 10 minutes left. If Xia Xingchen cannot leave the storm within 10 minutes, he will die on the spot. Xiao Bei, haven't you arrived at the place you mentioned yet? Xia Xingchen frowned slightly and asked. We are here, about 100 meters ahead. Xiao Bei said, Master, although I can't help you fight, I still have the ability to sense metal minerals. I'm sure there's a dark gold vein underground not far ahead. Yeah, I sensed it too. Xia Xingchen's omniscience domain unfolded, and he also sensed the existence of dark gold ore underground ahead. Boom. The beast god mecha condensed a drill in both hands, and suddenly dived towards the ground, drilling a big hole, and passing through the underground. The reason why Xia Xingchen flew in this direction was not because he was running around like a headless fly, but because Xiao Bei had sensed the existence of a dark gold vein here early. Xiao Bei is a star-eating worm, and he is naturally very sensitive to metal minerals. Xia Xingchen's mental induction ability is already very strong, but he can only sense it when he is about 100 meters away from the vein. Xiao Bei's sensing range is 100 kilometers. The difference between the two is 1,000 times. Moreover, most of the dark gold veins are hidden underground, and a sensing distance of 100 meters is completely useless. It is conceivable that other celestial beings have the same difficulty in searching for mineral veins as Xia Xingchen, and can only rely on luck. The assessment of the Spacetime Academy seems simple, but it is actually extremely difficult. Strength, luck, and courage are all indispensable. Xia Xingchen secretly rejoiced that he had Xiao Bei's help, otherwise he would have died in this raging storm. Found it. A whole dark gold vein. The drill in the hands of the beast god mecha rotated, and the rocks in front broke, and dark golden metal minerals appeared. It was the dark gold vein. Xia Xingchen's face was full of excitement. He hurriedly collected, or uncharged the death light protection device. The harsh beeping sound stopped. Omniscience field. Open. Xia Xingchen began to detect the reserves of the vein. Haha, the reserves of this vein are more than 30,000 kilograms. Enough for me to pass the assessment. After Xia Xingchen detected it, he was extremely excited. Xiao Bei, thank you so much. Fortunately, I have your help to sense it, otherwise I can't find such a large dark gold vein. Master, this vein is the largest nearby, and the other veins are too small. Some are buried very deep. It takes too much time to mine them. Xiao Bei was also very excited. Master, hurry up and mine. Okay. Xia Xingchen's eyes lit up, and he felt his blood boiling. Xia Xingchen grew up on Manastar, and helped his father with mining, since he was a child. Now he has a high-performance beast god mecha as an aid. It only took him 1 hour to dig out the entire dark gold vein, and put it into his own portable space. A total of 31,200 kilograms of dark gold ore. Big profit. Xia Xingchen laughed, and was very happy. Chapter 1714 Indigenous Creatures. Xia Xingchen only dug 1 dark gold vein, and got more than 30,000 kilograms of ore, which was a great harvest. The ability to find such a rich vein was all thanks to the star-swallowing bug Xiao Bei. If it were other examinees, it would be difficult to find it. Moreover, Xia Xingchen's location was far away from the safe zone, and there was a storm raging above. Therefore, it was impossible for other people to come, and this vein would be enjoyed by Xia Xingchen alone. If it were in other areas closer to the safe zone, even if the vein was found, other examinees would rush over as soon as possible. In this case, either the two sides negotiated and divided the vein equally, or, if the two sides could not reach an agreement, they had to fight to the death and win by strength. It is very rare on the Dead Light planet for one person to enjoy the entire vein, like Xia Xingchen. After Xia Xingchen finished digging the first vein, the storm above was still raging. There are two options. One is to spend a lot of dark gold ore, pass through the storm area, and continue to look for veins in a farther place. The second option is to return to the safe area and exchange the ore for necessary supplies. Xia Xingchen looked at the dark storm above and thought, the first option is more dangerous, but the benefits are greater. The second option is safer. Choose the first one. Fortune is sought in danger. Besides, 30,000 kilograms of ore should not be exchanged for the lone peak mecha. Xia Xingchen didn't think for long. His eyes lit up, and he had made a decision. Xia Xingchen's current situation is very dangerous, and he can only fight. Xia Xingchen drove the beast god mecha and spent a full 2 hours to pass through the storm area. During this period, he consumed a full 2,000 kilograms of dark gold ore. However, Xia Xingchen is now very rich and has 30,000 kilograms of dark gold stone, so he doesn't feel bad. More importantly, Xia Xingchen knows that his efforts will definitely be rewarded. After passing through the storm area, the scenery on the planet has changed significantly. Ahead was a continuous mountainous area, on which grew huge mushroom-like spore creatures, constantly spewing out green spore gas. Xia Xingchen was delighted to find that there were no signs of excavation in this area. Master, the reserves of dark gold ore here are richer than those in the previous places. Xiaobei also said excitedly. Dark gold ore should be a specialty of this dead light planet. Otherwise, the Spacetime Academy would not have spent so much effort to build a base on this planet. Moreover, the assessment of digging dark gold ore was held more than once by the Spacetime Academy. Xia Xingchen analyzed. When he was chased by Baku not long ago, he found that there were many traces of digging on the ground, and those places were exhausted ore veins. This shows that before Xia Xingchen and his group of assessors came, the ore veins near the safe zone had been excavated. If you don't have some adventurous spirit and go to more distant places to dig ore veins like Xia Xingchen, the chance of passing the assessment is slim. Although I don't know the specific properties of the dark gold ore and what it can be used for, but for the Spacetime Academy, it should be an extremely important material. Xia Xingchen thought to himself. In any case, Xia Xingchen was lucky to reach an undeveloped area. With Xiaobei's help, the harvest will be even more abundant. Xiaobei, start sensing. We just need to find the largest vein. Xia Xingchen ordered. Okay. Xiaobei immediately began to sense and directly marked the coordinates on Xia Xingchen's holographic sensing map from the soul level. There are 7 veins of various sizes within 100 kilometers nearby, and the largest one is not far ahead. Start mining. Xia Xingchen drove the beast god mech, drilled into the ground, and mined the dark gold vein under the guidance of Xiaobei. This vein is really big, and the dark gold ore reserves are rich. About 50,000 to 60,000 kilograms. Xia Xingchen was very excited, and the drill in the mech's hand spun rapidly, making a huge roar, mining the dark gold ore. 3 hours later. Finally, I have mined all the ore veins. Xia Xingchen's head was covered with fine beads of sweat. He felt a little tired, but he was still excited. Let's go to the next ore vein. Xia Xingchen knew that this opportunity was rare. Other examiners would break into this area at any time, and he had to race against time. Fortunately, due to the storm, no one else came to this area. Xia Xingchen spent a full 10 hours to mine all 7 ore veins, leaving nothing behind. Not counting the decimals, a total of 300,000 kilograms of dark gold ore. Almost done. Xia Xingchen rested for a while. This much dark gold ore might not be enough to exchange for the Lone Peak mecha, but it was more than enough to exchange for other mecha components. Master, I sensed that there is a huge ore vein in the southeast. The total reserves may exceed the sum of these 7 ore veins. Xiaobei suddenly said. What? There is a bigger ore vein? Xia Xingchen was stunned. Was his luck so good? Yes, I feel it very strongly. It must be a big ore vein. Xiaobei said with certainty. Go and have a look. Xia Xingchen couldn't wait and immediately flew southeast. Whoosh! A sound of breaking through the air suddenly sounded. Xia Xingchen was alarmed and immediately made evasive moves. The beast god mecha rotated 360 degrees in the air and barely avoided a Black Death light attack. Someone attacked me? Xia Xingchen looked intently and saw a black shadow under a huge spore plant. In the shadow was a strange looking reptile with a huge body and 8 legs. It looked a bit like a spider, but it was much larger than a spider. This creature had a scorpion-like tail that was raised high. There was a black diamond-shaped crystal at the tip of the tail, which transmitted the energy fluctuations of the death light. Obviously, it was this strange creature that attacked Xia Xingchen just now. Which examiner raised this spirit beast? No, it's impossible. It should be the native creature of this planet. Xia Xingchen was a little shocked. There were creatures in such a harsh environment on the Deathlight planet. However, the harsher the environment of the planet, the more vicious the native creatures. Die. Xia Xingchen looked at the huge compound eyes on the forehead of the spider creature, which flashed with a vicious light. He felt disgusted and condensed a spiral spear in the hand of the mecha, stabbing it towards its abdomen. Gap! The spider creature let out a strange cry, and its abdomen suddenly exploded, shooting out a strong death light energy from it, attacking Xia Xingchen. Xia Xingchen's heart tightened, and he dodged quickly, barely avoiding this sudden attack, but the left arm of the beast god mecha was also hit, corroding a large black hole, and the function of the left arm decreased by a full 50%. It was a close call. Xia Xingchen was still in shock, looking at the broken part of the mecha's chest. Fortunately, he dodged in time. If he had deviated a few centimeters to the right, he might have hit the super energy core. The super energy core is like the heart of the mecha. If it is hit, things will be troublesome. This spider creature has a low IQ, slow movements, and poor defense, but the death light attack it is good at is very terrifying. Chapter 17:15 Sorry, I won't sell it. This spider native creature is very difficult to deal with. Fortunately, I only encountered one. If I encountered more, I might not be able to escape unscathed. Xia Xingchen was frightened and became more careful. Master, there is a huge dark gold vein hidden under this mountain ahead. Xiaobei was very excited and marked a bright spot on Xia Xingchen's panoramic map. I also sensed it. What a huge vein. Xia Xingchen was flying in the air in the mecha, and he was also very excited when he felt that there was a huge vein hidden underground. If he could mine all the veins, Xia Xingchen could definitely exchange for the Lone Peak mecha. However, the soil rolled up like waves, and thousands of spider creatures drilled out from below, staring at Xia Xingchen with ferocious eyes, and raised their tails high. The crystals at the tip of their tails began to condense death light. So many. Xia Xingchen was shocked, and made a quick decision. The light wings behind the beast god mecha flashed, and suddenly rose up, hiding in the sky, leaving the range of these spider native creatures. It looks like this is the nest of the spider natives. Although this vein has amazing reserves, we have to give up. Xia Xingchen was very unwilling, but there was no other way. With his current strength, it was impossible to mine this vein. Go back first. Exchange all the 300,000 dark gold ores first. Xia Xingchen thought for a while, and decided to return to the safe zone to exchange treasures. Whoosh. The return journey was very smooth. Xia Xingchen spent several hours to reach the vicinity of the safe zone. On the way back, Xia Xingchen met several other examinees. Most of them traveled together, with 3 or 5 people forming a team. There were very few who acted alone like Xia Xingchen. These people were in a hurry, racing against time, looking for dark gold ores, and had no time to pay attention to Xia Xingchen. Xia Xingchen entered the safe zone, and frowned slightly when he saw the scene inside. He originally thought that there should not be many people in the safe zone, and most people should go to various places on the planet to explore and find dark gold ores. However, Xia Xingchen found that he was wrong. In the safe zone, there were many examiners sitting on the ground. There were a total of 10,000 examiners, and there were 9,000 in the safe zone alone. Seeing Xia Xingchen return to the safe zone, the examiners all stood up, their eyes shining, and surrounded Xia Xingchen. In an instant, Xia Xingchen was surrounded by everyone. What are you doing? Want to rob my dark gold ore? Xia Xingchen was shocked. But no violence can be used in the safe zone. How dare they rob openly? My compatriot, you just came back from the planet, and you must have some remaining dark gold ore on you. You can bid whatever you want. No matter how much it is, I will buy it. I'm the ruler of the Aya galaxy, and my reputation is absolutely guaranteed. A tall, sharp-horned, black-armored, and domineering human race strongman ran over and shouted to Xia Xingchen with an urgent look on his face. Don't sell it to him. Sell it to me. I'm the founder of the interstellar company Proman, and the price I offer is definitely higher than his. A tall mechanical race shouted. Sell it to me. Sell it to me. Countless examiners rushed over and surrounded Xia Xingchen in the middle, shouting at the same time. It was a mess. Xia Xingchen was confused, and it took a long time to figure out the situation from these people's messy words. Finding dark gold ore is more difficult than Xia Xingchen imagined. Among the 10,000 examiners, only 8,000 examiners have death ray protection devices. 1/5 were eliminated first. The remaining 8,000 examiners each have only 500 kilograms of dark gold ore, which means they only have 5 hours to find minerals. Unless someone is like Xiao Bei, whose racial talent is keenly aware of metal minerals. Otherwise, it is extremely difficult to find minerals, and you can only try your luck. After just 5 hours, most of the examiners returned empty-handed after exploration, and the dark gold ore on their bodies was also consumed. Only then did they realize that finding dark gold ore was a loss-making behavior. They found that it was impossible for them to pass the assessment of the Spacetime Academy by finding dark gold veins. But they still have a chance. The condition for passing the assessment is 10,000 kilograms of dark gold ore, which means that you don't need to mine it yourself, as long as you can get the ore from others. Even if it's cheating, it doesn't matter. Of course, the celestial beings are not fools, and no one will be fooled so easily, so buying becomes the last resort. The price of dark gold ore also rose immediately. 1,000 kilograms of dark gold ore has now risen to a sky-high price of 10 billion universe coins. Hearing this price, Xia Xingchen couldn't help but be moved. 10 billion universe coins can be used to pile up a galaxy third-level universe powerhouse. And the payment is just an opportunity to join the Spacetime Academy. Moreover, for most of the assessors, they already have no chance. Therefore, the remaining people in the safe zone are clearly divided into two types. One is the wealthy buyers who use their reputation and money to buy the opportunity to pass the Spacetime Academy assessment. The other is the sellers who sell all the death ray protection devices and dark gold ore, completely give up hope, and wait for the end of the assessment. There are less than 500 examinees who continue to explore the planet. The price of the death ray protection device, which could have been sold for 1 billion universe coins, has now fallen to the bottom and can't even be sold for 10,000 universe coins. Many sellers are regretting that they shouldn't use 500 kilograms of dark gold ore to exchange for this useless equipment. And those sellers who have no chance to exchange for the death ray protection device are smiling. Although they lost the opportunity to enter the Spacetime Academy, they have a stable 10 billion universe coins in their accounts. It's worth the trip. Seeing the faces of these people in the safe zone, Xia Xingchen couldn't help but shake his head secretly. In his eyes, both buyers and sellers are weak, losing courage and enterprising spirit, being complacent for a little insignificant gain. They will eventually lose their foothold in this cruel universe. In Xia Xingchen's view, 10 billion universe coins to buy 1,000 kilograms of dark gold ore is certainly a high price. He had 300,000 dark gold ores on him. If he sold them all, it would be 3,000 billion universe coins. Such a huge sum of money was enough to buy a rich galaxy in the world of heaven and man, where money was supreme. But the treasures provided by the Spacetime Academy could not be bought with money. Sorry, I won't sell it. Xia Xingchen shook his head and flatly rejected all the buyer's proposals. Chapter 17:16 Time and Spacesuit. Not selling? The buyers surrounding Xia Xingchen were stunned when they heard this. Would you like to reconsider it? This price is hard to come by. If you sell a little bit of ore, you can become a rich man in the universe. Yes. Think about it again. I don't mind if it's too little. Even 100 kilograms of dark gold ore is fine. The buyers were not giving up and were still persuading. Sorry, I really don't want to sell it. Xia Xingchen was determined, pushed the crowd away, and prepared to leave. Not selling? I think you don't have any goods. You can't find dark gold ore in a mere first level galaxy. You've used up all the dark gold ore on you, and you fled back to the safe zone in a hurry. You want to sell it in your heart, but there's no ore left. Seeing that Xia Xingchen didn't sell it, the buyers' attitudes changed 180 degrees, and many of them looked at him with contempt and sneered. Haha. Xia Xingchen just sneered at these short-sighted buyers, and walked straight towards a diamond-shaped crystal. He's going to exchange treasures at the diamond crystal? No way. Those treasures are ridiculously expensive. How can he exchange so many dark gold ores? Let's go and take a look. Countless eyes were focused on Xia Xingchen. This time, not only the buyers, but also the sellers who were quietly waiting for the assessment to end, were very curious and gathered around. Xia Xingchen stood in front of the diamond crystal and reached out to touch the surface of the crystal. Whoosh! Xia Xingchen's consciousness was immediately sucked into a reddish-brown space. Little guy, what are you going to do? The voice of Supervisor number 7 echoed in the space. I want to exchange treasures. Xia Xingchen replied. Oh. Do you have enough dark gold ores? If not, leave. Many people have touched the crystal, but have no ores to exchange. Humph, if I had known earlier, I would have added a rule. To make those who come to disturb me without ores to exchange for treasures be annihilated directly. Supervisor number 7 seemed to be in a bad mood. 300,000 kilograms of dark gold ore, is that enough? Xia Xingchen asked. 300,000? So much? Supervisor No. 7's tone was very surprised. An old man in a white robe appeared silently in front of Xia Xingchen, his eyes shining with dazzling brilliance, looking at him carefully. Swish. The old man suddenly waved his hand, and a huge dark gold ore piled up in a cube appeared in front of him. He nodded slightly and praised. You are not lying. It is indeed 300,000 kilograms. What a lucky little guy. This is my ore. Xia Xingchen was stunned and immediately went to explore his personal space and found that the ore inside had disappeared. How is it possible? Silently invaded my personal space and took out the things inside without my permission? Xia Xingchen stared at Supervisor number 7, his face full of shock. This was the first time he encountered such a situation. Could it be that all my secrets were exposed in front of him? Xia Xingchen's body trembled slightly, and his clothes were soaked unconsciously. Haha, little guy, you are surprised. This is the law of space. All spaces are visible to me. The subspace you opened up yourself is no exception. Of course, this is a little trick that is not worth mentioning. What treasure do you want to exchange? Supervisor number 7 asked with a smile. Lone Peak Mech. Xia Xingchen said without thinking. Oh. Supervisor number 7 was even more surprised. You are actually a mech master. Not bad. But 300,000 kilograms of ore cannot be exchanged for the Lone Peak Mech. Cannot be exchanged? Xia Xingchen was stunned. The Lone Peak Mech requires at least 1.5 million kilograms of ore. Haha, you can find 300,000 kilograms of ore so quickly. 1.5 million should not be a difficult task for you. If you work harder, you should be able to exchange for the Lone Peak Mech before the end of the assessment. Supervisor number 7 still had a smile on his face. 1.5 million kilograms. Xia Xingchen took a breath of cold air. Even if he mined all the large ore veins occupied by indigenous creatures, he might not be able to get enough. Of course, it's normal for a black hole level mecha to be more expensive. Xia Xingchen had already prepared himself. He only mined for a few hours, and he wanted to exchange it for a Lonely Peak mecha? How could such a good thing happen in the world? Since I can't exchange for a mecha, I have to exchange for a mecha component. Xia Xingchen looked at the exchange list. Black hole level mecha weapon first level space-time blade. Black hole level mecha shield first level space-time barrier. Black hole level mecha flying wing first level space-time light wing. Xia Xingchen looked at the list and finally chose a set of space-time suit. This set of mecha formation just includes 3 aspects: weapons, defense, and speed. Moreover, it is produced by the Space-Time Academy and is definitely not for sale in the outside world. Master Supervisor, I don't quite understand what the first level in front of the mecha component means. I didn't find any treasures above the first level on the list. Xia Xingchen asked. Little guy, you have a keen observation. This set of space-time suits can be upgraded. As long as you can successfully pass the assessment and become a member of the Space-Time Academy. Haha, of course, as long as you pay 10,000 kilograms of dark gold ore, you can pass the assessment at any time. In short, your current authority is not enough, and you can only exchange for first level treasures. However, since it is a product of the Space-Time Academy, the first level components are also extremely strong. Supervisor number 7 smiled. This set of space-time suits requires exactly 300,000 kilograms of dark gold ore. Are you sure you want to exchange it? Exactly 300,000? Xia Xingchen glanced at Supervisor number 7 suspiciously. After exchanging the space-time suit, he couldn't even take out 10,000 kilograms of dark gold ore, so he had to go mining again. Although Xia Xingchen originally planned to do this might not be too coincidental. The treasures on the list are not clearly marked with prices. You can only get the price by asking Supervisor number 7. Supervisor number 7 can see through space, and he knows how much dark gold ore I have. Could it be that the prices of these treasures are just casually said by him, with the purpose of squeezing out the ore from me? Xia Xingchen thought secretly in his heart. But why did Supervisor number 7 do this? Xia Xingchen has no answer yet. Confirm the exchange. Xia Xingchen gritted his teeth and said in a deep voice. He had no other choice but to exchange. But Xia Xingchen felt that he was being taken advantage of by Supervisor number 7, and he felt a little unhappy. This is the first level space-time battle blade you exchanged. Supervisor number 7 nodded, and a sword-shaped weapon emitting golden light appeared in his palm. There were countless strange symbols engraved on the sword body, which was more complicated than the life scroll Xia Xingchen had seen. Just looking at it, Xia Xingchen felt that his soul was about to be sucked into the sword body. Xia Xingchen took out the beast god mecha, and the lightsaber flew into the mecha's hand, changing size at will, and finally turned into a two-handed giant sword that matched the mecha's size. The shape of the weapon is not important. What's important is the power. Supervisor number 7 smiled faintly. Chapter 1717 Trapped. This is the space-time barrier. Supervisor number 7 turned his palm and a golden spherical mechanical device appeared in his palm. The surface was also engraved with many complex patterns, emitting a yellow light. These patterns seemed to contain the secrets of space-time. Xia Xingchen was fascinated. Little guy, don't think too much. These two mecha components are both black hole level. You may be able to use them reluctantly, but you will never be able to comprehend the mysteries contained in them. Don't worry, when you enter the Space-Time Academy and are promoted to the black hole level, there will be plenty of opportunities to comprehend the endless mysteries of the universe. Supervisor number 7 looked at Xia Xingchen with a smile. His eyes showed approval, and in his words, he already regarded Xia Xingchen as a member of the Space-Time Academy. This is indeed the case. For Xia Xingchen, entering the Space-Time Academy is already a sure thing. There is one last piece, the space-time light wings. The last mecha component of the space-time suit appeared in Supervisor No. 7's hand, which was a pair of light wings. Different from the colorful light wings condensed behind the beast god mecha. The colorful light wings are phantoms formed by the condensation of spiritual power, not real objects. However, this pair of space-time light wings are real mecha components that can provide a lot of speed and flexibility for the beast god mecha. Xia Xingchen stared at the space-time light wings. The light emitted from them was very beautiful. It was not ordinary gold, but like space and time, it kept changing and showing completely different brilliant colors. The space-time light wings were gently flapped in the hands of Supervisor number 7, and large and small space-time vortices immediately appeared behind the wings, which were extremely dazzling. Just the vibration of the light wings can disrupt space and time. Xia Xingchen took a breath and was completely stunned. This is only the power of the first level space-time suit. If you can upgrade the suit to a higher level, you will see the true power contained in the suit. That is the majestic power of space-time. Of course, this is still too far away for you. Supervisor number 7 laughed. Go, hurry up and mine some dark gold ore. Maybe you can exchange it for the Lone Peak mecha. Compared with the Lone Peak mecha, your mecha is too weak. Although Xia Xingchen didn't want to admit it, he knew that Supervisor number 7 was telling the truth. The beast god mecha is the treasure of the orcs, and the orcs were once vassals of the ancient humans. The beast god mecha is the strongest existence in the Milky Way, but it may not be the strongest mecha of the ancient humans. What's more, the technological level of the ancient humans is not the top in the world of heaven and man. It is far inferior to the Space-Time Academy, and there is also a huge gap with the top 10 gods. After all, the Space-Time Academy is one of the 3 most powerful forces in the universe. Swish. After getting the time and space suit, Xia Xingchen's consciousness left the diamond crystal and returned to his body, slowly opening his eyes. Around the diamond crystal, almost all the examiners rushed over and surrounded Xia Xingchen in the middle, with astonishment on their faces, whispering. Others only need a few seconds to exchange. Why did Xia Xingchen, a native of the Milky Way, exchange so long? Yes. It's really weird. What on earth did he exchange? It seems to have been put into his space ring. Whatever Xia Xingchen exchanged, it must be an extremely valuable treasure, otherwise it would not take so long to exchange. Several buyers who had once spread rumors about Xia Xingchen also came over with shameless faces, nodded and bowed, saying, "This sir, you should have some dark gold, all left from the exchange, can you sell us some? Just a little bit will do." "Sorry," I said, "I won't sell." Xia Xingchen glanced at these people and said lightly. Then, Xia Xingchen squeezed out of the crowd, reached the edge of the safe zone, took out the beast god mecha from the portable space, and flew towards the depths of the planet. Looking at Xia Xingchen's back, the examiners in the safe zone had mixed feelings. Jealousy, annoyance, envy, hatred. All kinds of emotional eyes fell on Xia Xingchen. Xia Xingchen completely disdained them. In the middle of the crowd, Bro, the elder, stared at Xia Xingchen's back with a vicious look in his eyes, and a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. He used telepathy to contact his companions. "Baku, Xia Xingchen has left the safe zone, and flew in the direction of you. I don't know what treasure he exchanged with the diamond crystal. What is certain is, that he must have a lot of dark gold ore on him. Bro, we have set up a trap, you hurry over." Baku replied immediately. Whoosh. Bro flew into the sky, turned into a ray of light, and chased in the direction of Xia Xingchen. Time and space battle blade, time, and space barrier, time, and space light wings. Although the number 7 supervisor said it in a fancy way, how terrifying the power of the time and space suit is still needs to be tested in actual combat. Xia Xingchen flew in the air in the beast god mecha. Equipped with the space-time suit, the appearance of the beast god mecha has undergone a huge change. Xia Xingchen's flying speed is not fast. He is still familiar with the use of the space-time suit. Space-time light wings. Xia Xingchen shouted, and first used the space-time light wings. A pair of huge light wings appeared behind the beast god mech. When flapping, many vortices appeared behind it, as if space and time were broken. The beast god mech also teleported to a distance of 10,000 meters. Xia Xingchen stared at the energy value on the mech console. His eyes widened. He just used the light wings once, and the energy was consumed by 10%. The energy consumed by this space-time suit is too terrifying. Xia Xingchen was secretly shocked. Fortunately, the beast god mech was equipped with a new energy device super energy core. Otherwise, it would be impossible to start the space-time suit. Just when Xia Xingchen was still trying and groping for the space-time suit, swish. The surrounding space suddenly became sticky, and golden light circles flew down from above, trapping Xia Xingchen and the mech in the middle. Xia Xingchen was shocked to find that the entire space had solidified. He was like a bug in amber, unable to even move. Space confinement? Xia Xingchen was slightly startled. He had fought with space power users before, and had seen space confinement before. It felt exactly the same as it did now. Hahaha, Xia Xingchen, you finally fell into our trap. A figure emerged from midair with a grim smile on his face. It was none other than Baku, a celestial being from the Elder Clan. Behind Baku, another celestial being from the Elder Clan was holding a small pyramid-shaped device in his hand. Light shot out from the top of the pyramid, forming a series of light rings in the air, trapping Xia Xingchen and the beast god mecha inside. In the distance, Bro, a celestial being from the Elder Clan, also flew over. When he saw Xia Xingchen being caught, a smile spread across his face. Finally caught. This guy's really slippery. Fortunately, we spent 10,000 kilograms of dark gold ore to exchange for the space-time trap from the diamond crystal. Otherwise, there would be nothing we could do to him. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 17-18 Killing a Strong Enemy. Speaking of which, the 3 elder from Baku were really lucky. In order to catch up with Xia Xingchen, they encountered a storm. Although they returned in time, the storm came very fast and soon enveloped the 3 of them. The 3 had no choice but to hide in an underground cave in a panic. They didn't expect that there was a large dark gold vein deep in the underground cave. It was a blessing in disguise. They dug the entire vein and harvested a full 100,000 kilograms of dark gold ore. In order to trap Xia Xingchen, Baku spared no expense and exchanged a small device called time and space trap from the diamond crystal to ambush Xia Xingchen and made a success in one fell swoop. At this moment, Xia Xingchen was blocked in the light curtain condensed by the power of time. He could not move and could only watch Baku and the other to slowly fly over. Finally we caught this guy. It was not easy. This guy's really amazing. He managed to escape from the hands of the Eternal God clan. If we kill him, the clan leader and Lord Yeager of the Eternal God clan will reward us handsomely. Bro's face was full of joy. Rewards from the clan leader and Yeager? Humph, that's nothing. We have mined enough dark gold ore. If it weren't for the pursuit of Xia Xingchen, we would have passed the assessment and become a member of the Spacetime Academy. As long as we enter the Spacetime Academy, those rewards are insignificant. Not to mention the clan leader. I'm afraid Lord Yeager will turn around and curry favor with us. Baku smiled coldly, with a sense of success in his smile. Baku is right. As long as we join the Spacetime Academy, everything in the universe will be in our hands. Bro and the other Elder Celestial being laughed at the same time. However, before that, we still have to get rid of this guy. He cut off the evolutionary path of our Elder. He has plunged the Elder into shame. We must kill him to vent our anger. Baku had already flown in front of Xia Xingchen, staring down at Xia Xingchen. I heard that you have a cosmic secret treasure in your hand, a crystal pyramid. If you hand it over, I can consider sparing your life. Xia Xingchen looked up at Baku. He fell into a state of complete stillness, and even his vocal cords could not vibrate. However, his mental fluctuations could still be transmitted to communicate with Baku. I know all about the despicable tricks of your elder. As long as I hand over the treasure, you will take action immediately. Baku's mental fluctuations trembled slightly, and it was obvious that Xia Xingchen had hit the nail on the head. He was immediately angry and said, since you are unwilling to hand it over, that's fine. Anyway, we have collected enough dark gold ore to become a member of the Spacetime Academy. By then, we won't even look down on the treasure on you. Go. Kill this kid. Xia Xingchen smiled slightly and said, you are really confident? Who will kill whom? We don't know yet. Trapped in the space-time trap, Xia Xingchen, who had been in a static state, suddenly moved. The beast god mecha burst into a strong flash, forming a diamond-shaped shield on the surface of the mecha. At the same time, a golden two-handed giant sword condensed in the mecha's hand. With a light wave, countless space-time vortices appeared on the sword. Boom. The light curtain formed by the space-time trap shattered and turned into countless faint light points, dissipating in the air. Xia Xingchen's face was cold, and the golden space-time battle blade in the mecha's hand pointed at Baku. Suddenly, the remaining space-time power condensed together and turned into a golden sword light, shooting towards Baku. Baku was shocked and flew high in an instant, barely avoiding this sharp sword light. Space-time light wings. Xia Xingchen shouted, and a pair of golden light wings opened behind the beast god mecha, and countless space-time vortices appeared and disappeared behind the light wings. As the light wings shook slightly, the whole body of the beast god mecha was covered with brilliant golden light. It flashed suddenly and teleported above Baku. Cut. The time and space battle blade shone with light, and the sword body suddenly expanded to 10,000 meters long. Under the reflection of the dark sky, it was like a golden thunder. Baku couldn't dodge in time, so he could only cross his hands in front of his chest and condense one mental barrier after another, layer upon layer, and instantly there were thousands of layers. Boom. The time and space battle blade collided with the mental barrier, making a thunderous sound. However, the mental barrier condensed by Baku, a third-level strongman of the galaxy, melted quickly in front of the time and space battle blade like spring snow exposed to the sun. The time and space battle blade carried incredible power and hit Baku heavily. The flesh of the spiritual life is very fragile. Once the mental barrier is broken, it will be life-threatening. What's more, Baku is facing the time and space battle blade. No. Baku screamed, and his body was engulfed by the light of the space-time blade, and there was no sound. After the light, only the beast god mech, which was emitting golden light, remained in the air. Baku's body was evaporated by the high energy, and there was no trace of his body. So strong. Xia Xingchen looked at the space-time blade in the mecha's hand in amazement. He did not expect that the combination of the 3 space-time suits would actually burst out with such amazing power. You know, Baku is a 3rd level galaxy warrior. And I'm only a 1st level galaxy warrior. He is not even my opponent. Xia Xingchen was so excited that his whole body was tense and his body could not stop shaking. Baku is dead. The soul fluctuations have completely disappeared. He is indeed dead. How is it possible? Xia Xingchen is only a 1st level galaxy warrior. How could he kill Baku? The situation changed too quickly, and the remaining 2 Elder Celestials did not even have time to react before Baku was killed. Both of them were in doubt at the moment, not knowing what to do. Run. Run separately. The spirit race celestial being was frightened and didn't dare to fight Xia Xingchen. They immediately turned into 2 streams of light, one heading east and the other heading west, and fled separately. Can you escape? Xia Xingchen smiled coldly and flapped his space-time wings again. Swish. The beast god Mecha teleported in front of a spirit race celestial being and chopped him off with the space-time battle blade in his hand. The strength of this spirit race celestial being was far inferior to Baku. Even Baku was killed by Xia Xingchen in one move. How could he resist? Boom. This spirit race celestial being was also killed in one move. The next moment, the beast god Mecha teleported in front of Bro. Bro looked at the place where his companion was killed behind him in astonishment. There was clearly another beast god Mecha. Why did another one appear in front of him? Illusion? Or was it? Bro didn't have time to think, and the light of the space-time battle blade completely enveloped him. Before he died, Bro saw that the image of the beast god Mecha in the distance gradually faded and finally disappeared. The speed of the space-time light wings was too fast, so fast that space could not react, leaving a shadow in the original place. It's great. Xia Xingchen killed the 3 spirits of Baku, collected their space rings, and couldn't help but roaring to the sky. Chapter 17-19 An unexpected surprise. After killing 3 Elder Celestials in Baku, Xia Xingchen felt extremely happy. Since entering the Celestial Realm, Xia Xingchen has been hunted by the Elder Celestials and the Eternal Gods. He has been in a state of panic, homeless, and wandering around in the universe. This feeling is extremely aggrieved. Xia Xingchen finally turned the tables and killed the powerful enemy who had been chasing him, and he vented his anger. Elf Celestials, this is just the beginning. I, Xia Xingchen, swear that one day I will wipe out your entire race from the starry sky. Xia Xingchen looked at the sky and swore secretly. The battle just now was quite noisy, and someone must have heard the noise and rushed over. I have to leave immediately. Although the powerful enemy was killed, Xia Xingchen was still cautious. Before he could check the spoils, the beast god Mecha turned into a stream of light and left the area. Xia Xingchen's prediction was correct. Not long after he left, 3 figures flew over and carefully explored the area where Xia Xingchen had just fought. There should be a battle nearby. There is still residual energy in the space. An energy life sniffed the air and made a judgment. It is indeed here. But there is no mineral vein nearby. A large insect with a brown body, like a mantis, kept rubbing its teeth in its mouth and said, "Strange. Generally speaking, fighting will only happen to grab mineral veins." A human man with muscles all over his body and a bull's head frowned. An energy body, a Zerg, and a human. All 3 of them are the best of their respective races, and now they have formed a temporary team. They do not look for minerals themselves, but use the energy life sensitive talent for energy to find the place where energy explodes. Generally speaking, there will be 2 forces fighting for the grabbing of mineral veins. The 3 will take advantage of the fight between the 2 sides, sneak in, sneak attack their core members, and then kill the members of both sides one by one. Although this method is very despicable, it has been tried and tested. Relying on this method, the 3 people quickly accumulated a large amount of ore. There are signs of energy explosion not far to the southeast, and a new battle has begun. The energy life suddenly said, "Okay, let's go." The Minotaur and Zerg were delighted and immediately flew towards the new battlefield. Wow. Are the 3 Bacchus misers? There are so many dark gold ores in their space rings. A full 100,000 kilograms. A big profit. While Xia Xingchen was flying towards the dark gold vein, where the indigenous creatures were, he opened the space rings of the 3 Bacchus to check his spoils. Most of the space rings were the personal belongings of the Elder. The assessment of the Spacetime Academy was extremely difficult. The three Bacchus knew the danger well, and before entering the portal, they emptied their space rings and handed the valuable items inside to their leader able for safekeeping. Therefore, apart from the 100,000 kilograms of dark gold ore, Xia Xingchen did not find other valuables in the space rings of the three. But this was already a pleasant surprise. 100,000 kilograms of dark gold ore, they should have mined a whole vein. But now they are all dead, and I got it for nothing. Just consider it as a small compensation for chasing me all the time. Xia Xingchen felt at ease, and accepted the 100,000 kilograms of dark gold ore. Help. Help. Who can save me? Just when Xia Xingchen was happy, he suddenly felt a strong mental fluctuation. Someone was asking for help. The direction from which the mental fluctuation came was exactly Xia Xingchen's destination. Let's go and have a look. Xia Xingchen's heart sank. Could it be that the vein he found has been touched by others? Whoosh. The space-time light wings behind the beast god Mecha flapped, and the speed soared to the limit, flying forward. The mountains were full of huge purple spore plants. In the air, 4 spider-like indigenous creatures, vibrating their wings, were besieging a short-statured human celestial being with a head like a hippopotamus, who looked quite honest. This human celestial being was obviously not good at fighting. He held a crystal in his hand and opened a circular protective matrix. Boom boom boom. The indigenous creatures raised their tails, and the crystals on the tip of their tails flashed with death energy, constantly bombarding the matrix, and a strong explosion sounded. The matrix was shaky under the bombardment, and the light flickered, and it could be broken at any time. The human celestial being who looked like a hippopotamus, while struggling to support himself, released mental fluctuations, and asked for help from the surroundings. But the celestial beings were very selfish. Who would come to save him? Besides, he glanced at the ground, and hundreds of indigenous creatures crawled out from under the spore plants, shaking their wings, preparing to fly into the sky to besiege him. He felt deep despair. Even if someone was willing to save him, how could they be the opponent of these hundreds of indigenous creatures? Is it the Proro people? Xia Xingchen saw the besieged celestial being from a distance, and his eyebrows raised slightly. Xia Xingchen got the Atlas of the Universe celestial beings from Carlos. Although he could not distinguish the differences between other races besides the human race, he already recognized the human race. The Proro, about 1 meter tall, looks like a hippopotamus, and has a gentle temperament. They are one of the few kind races in the universe. Moreover, the Proro also has a deep connection with the ancient humans, and the two races have been friends for a long time. Even in the battle, when the Eternal Protoss exterminated the ancient humans, the Proro still chose to remain neutral in the face of the huge pressure from the Eternal Protoss, and did not add insult to injury like other races. If it were any other race, Xia Xingchen would not have taken action. However, for the kind-hearted Proro, Xia Xingchen could not watch him being killed by the indigenous creatures. Don't panic. I'll save you. Xia Xingchen shouted in a low voice, and rushed forward directly, with the time battle blade in his hand flashing a dazzling light. Human Mecha Master? The Proro was slightly startled and exclaimed, "Be careful, these beasts are very strong." Swish. The light flashed. The bodies of the 4 spider-like indigenous creatures were chopped into countless pieces. Before the Proro finished the second half of his words, Xia Xingchen killed all the indigenous creatures. He was stunned, his eyes widened, his mouth opened, and he couldn't speak for a long time. Let's go. Although the 4 indigenous creatures in front of him had been eliminated, there were still hundreds of them flapping their wings on the ground. Xia Xingchen grabbed the Proro's arm, flapped his wings of time and space, and quickly left this dangerous area. The top of the mountain. I'm finally saved. The Proro sighed, and bowed to Xia Xingchen with gratitude. Human. You must be the legendary human. Friend of the Proro. Thank you, my friend. If it weren't for you, I would have been eaten by those beasts. Haha, it would be too unworthy for me, the great Prince Lamb, to die in the mouths of those monsters. Prince? Xia Xingchen looked at the plain-looking Proro in front of him in surprise. Are you the Prince of the Proro? Of course, I'm the most beloved grandson of the great Emperor Rollin. Lam straightened his chest. In short, human, you saved my life. I thank you. Chapter 17:20 Important information. It's just a piece of cake. Xia Xingchen smiled lightly. How did you end up in that place and get besieged by indigenous creatures? It's hard to explain in a few words. Who would have thought that that damn place was so dangerous? Lam looked at Xia Xingchen and stammered. Rumor has it that there is only one human participating in this Spacetime Academy assessment. Could it be you? Xia Xingchen nodded and said lightly, it should be me. Why? Am I famous? Lam looked a little excited. Xia Xingchen. It turns out to be you, the human mecha master Xia Xingchen from the Milky Way. You don't know it yet, but you're already famous. You're the only one in the starry sky who has survived being hunted by the eternal gods. What kind of fame is that? You're just good at escaping. Xia Xingchen shrugged. No, you're very strong. You're stronger than any celestial being I've ever seen. 4 indigenous creatures were killed in the blink of an eye. Too strong. Lam looked at Xia Xingchen with admiration. Xia Xingchen, although you are very strong, I advise you not to approach that mountain range. It is too dangerous there. Lam said seriously. Anyway, I will not approach that mountain range again. Thank you for reminding me. Xia Xingchen smiled faintly. In order to repay your life-saving grace, I have another important information to share with you. You are so strong, it is too inefficient to explore and mine the veins by yourself. Lam blinked and said mysteriously. Why? Do you mean that I should learn from other celestial beings and rely on my own strength to rob and kill the weak? I, Xia Xingchen, will not do that. Xia Xingchen said. No, no, no. Lam shook his head quickly. A truly strong person would not bother to do such despicable act as robbing and killing the weak. I'm talking about another method. Gambling. Gambling? Xia Xingchen raised an eyebrow. Tell me in detail. It's like this. Lam licked his lips and said, for a truly strong person, as long as they are lucky, it is not difficult to collect the 10,000 kilograms of dark gold, or required to pass the assessment of the Spacetime Academy. The difficult part is how to collect enough ore to exchange for the treasures in the diamond crystals. And, after exchanging the treasures, there is enough ore left to exchange for academy points. The expenses of the Spacetime Academy are extremely high. If you don't have points, you can only perform basic tasks, which will waste a lot of time. Wait a minute. Xia Xingchen's eyes flashed, and he said quickly, the treasures in the diamond crystals are very important. Do they have to be exchanged? Yes. Lam nodded. Very important. Many treasures cannot be exchanged after entering the academy. They can only be exchanged in this assessment trial. I see. Xia Xingchen nodded slightly. The information provided by Lam was extremely important. He finally understood that this was the hidden message in Supervisor No. 7's words. If the ore is not exchanged for treasures, it will not be invalid after the assessment, but will be exchanged for academy points. And academy points are also extremely important to the freshmen of the Spacetime Academy, right? Xia Xingchen looked at Lam and said, yes, that's the truth. Lam nodded. Only in this way, the strong who have a lot of ore will not share the ore with the weak, so that they can also pass the assessment. On the contrary, the strong will try their best to concentrate the ore on themselves and pave the way for their future practice. The Spacetime Academy is a very fair place, and there are no loopholes in the system. It's just that those supervisors like to keep things secret. I heard this information from a senior from the common people who joined the Spacetime Academy. It is absolutely reliable. Xia Xingchen nodded and said, I understand. Let's talk about gambling. Lam looked anxious and said, the real strong will not rob and kill the weak. Therefore, they contacted each other, agreed on the time and place, and held gambling competitions. The stakes are ore. Xia Xingchen, you are so strong. You don't need to look for ore at all. As long as you win a few gambling fights, you can get a lot of ore. However, the threshold for participating in gambling fights is also very high, requiring at least 100,000 kilograms of dark gold ore. Do you have enough ore? If not, I can lend it to you. Gambling? Interesting. But I don't want to participate yet. As for you lending me the ore, haha, I appreciate your kindness. Xia Xingchen smiled and said, thank you for your information. Okay. Lam handed Xia Xingchen a metal chip and said, "It contains the time and coordinates of the gambling. If you are interested, you can go at any time. I guarantee with the reputation of the Proro royal family that the gambling is absolutely fair." "Thank you." Xia Xingchen accepted the metal chip, watched Lam leave, and immediately flew towards the mountains where the indigenous creatures lived. After the battle just now, Xia Xingchen has determined that the power of the time and space suit is extraordinary, and he can already resist the attacks of the indigenous creatures. How could Xia Xingchen let go of the huge mineral vein under the mountains easily? As for the gambling fight that Lam mentioned, Xia Xingchen was also very interested. However, Xia Xingchen was not blinded by victory. Among the celestial beings, the combat effectiveness of the three Bacchus is far from being strong. In the gambling fight, there must be a real cosmic strongman. Just relying on the power of the time and space suit, Xia Xingchen is not 100% sure to win. We must exchange for the lone peak mech. Mechas are the foundation of combat power. Xia Xingchen has made plans. After collecting 1.5 million kilograms of dark gold ore, he will immediately go back and exchange for the lone peak mech, hoping to be in time for the gambling fight. Whoosh! The beast god mech flew over the mountain. Xia Xingchen opened his omniscience field, and after determining the general direction of the ore vein, he dived down. Gaga gaga. In an instant, more than a dozen large and small spider-like indigenous creatures surrounded Xia Xingchen. "Get out!" Xia Xingchen shouted, and the time and space battle blade shone, forcing several indigenous creatures around him to retreat. Xia Xingchen took the opportunity to dig a tunnel downwards and entered the underground. These indigenous creatures lingered at the entrance of the cave for a while and finally had to disperse. It must be said that the life state of these indigenous creatures is very low, and their IQ is similar to that of most Zerg worker bees. However, the lower the creature, the more sensitive the perception of danger. They clearly felt that it was best not to provoke the steel giant digging underground. Once provoked, not only the individual, but the entire tribe will be in calamity. Of course, their feeling is completely correct. After Xia Xingchen obtained the time and space suit, he had the ability to kill all the indigenous creatures. However, that would waste a lot of his time. What Xia Xingchen lacks most now is time. Found it. Xia Xingchen dug down for nearly 1,000 meters and finally dug to the bottom of the vein. This vein not only has huge reserves, but also has excellent ore quality. Moreover, Xia Xingchen discovered that this main vein also branched out into 7 or 8 branch veins. If all the veins here are mined, 1.5 million kilograms of dark gold ore can definitely be collected. Chapter 1721 10,000 meter lone peak. Deathlight planet. A towering mountain range with countless mushroom-shaped spore plants growing. Under the mushroom cap, there are many shadows wandering, which are the spider-like native creatures of the planet. They look quite anxious and keep walking back and forth. Underground, 1,000 meters deep, Xia Xingchen is driving the beast god mecha, and the drill in the mecha's hand roars, trying hard to mine the dark gold vein. Behind him is a 1,000-meter long underground cave. This used to be a vein, but it was mined by Xia Xingchen and turned into a cave. On the ground of the cave, there are many dark gold ore fragments scattered, shining with golden light, which is particularly eye-catching in the dark. There are a lot of these fragments. If all are collected, there may be thousands of kilograms. But Xia Xingchen is not rare now. Xia Xingchen already has more than 1 million kilograms of dark gold ore in his portable space. How can he be rare with these dark gold ore fragments? In addition to the fragments, there are also many corpses of native creatures on the ground, covering a whole layer on the ground, with hundreds of them. Their wounds were all smooth sword marks, and there were obvious signs of burning around the wounds. Xia Xingchen's mining of the mineral veins here caused a lot of vibrations, disturbing the indigenous creatures on the ground. Therefore, a steady stream of indigenous creatures came down to find trouble with Xia Xingchen, but were killed by his time and space battle blade in one stroke. Hundreds of compatriots died, and these indigenous creatures found that they could not do anything to Xia Xingchen, so they retreated. If there is no time and space suit, I'm definitely not the opponent of these indigenous creatures. Xia Xingchen summarized the fierce battle just now, while mining the mineral veins. It must be said that the indigenous creatures on the Deathlight planet are very difficult to deal with. especially the deathlight attack at their tail, can penetrate most protective barriers. Of course, Xia Xingchen's time and space barrier is not included. When Xia Xingchen used the time and space barrier to resist the attack of the deathlight, he was surprised to find that the time and space barrier was not a simple energy or spiritual matrix, but also contained a trace of time and space power. After the deathlight attacked the time and space barrier, it would be isolated by the time and space power, which is equivalent to hitting a layer of space wall. No matter how strong the energy of the death rays, it is still a long way from penetrating the space wall. Therefore, Xia Xingchen relied on the 3 space-time suits to fight against the indigenous creatures and was invincible. Through the battle just now, the weakness of the beast god mecha has also been revealed. Xia Xingchen said silently in his heart, the space-time suit is a black hole level mecha component, and the beast god mecha is at best a galaxy level mecha. Although the beast god mecha is equipped with a super energy core, its own performance limitations can no longer support the needs of the space-time suit. It's like a calf pulling a heavy car. It is impossible to bring out the full performance of the space-time suit. Exchange. Must exchange for the Lonely Peak mecha. I've decided that I will immediately exchange for the Lonely Peak mecha after mining 1.5 million kilograms of dark gold ore. Xia Xingchen's heart was boiling, and he couldn't wait. Xia Xingchen worked tirelessly for 2 days to mine this vein, including the surrounding branch veins, and finally gathered 1.5 million kilograms of dark gold ore. It's all here. Finally, it's all here. Mining is such a physical job. Xia Xingchen was very excited, his hands clenched tightly, his face full of excitement. Let's go. Go back to the safe zone to exchange for the Lone Peak mech. The beast god mech rushed out from the ground, turned into a stream of light, and flew towards the safe zone. Along the way, there were many teams of celestial beings fighting, robbing, and killing each other, and snatching minerals. As the end of the assessment approached, the price of dark gold ore rose to an incredible level. There were also some celestial beings who set traps, opened blockades, waited for others to be ambushed. However, the speed of the space-time light wing was too fast. Under its propulsion, the beast god mech turned into a blurry stream of light and rushed through the blockades set up by these celestial beings in the blink of an eye. Someone flew over. A crocodile-headed human celestial being couldn't believe his eyes. No, my detector didn't respond at all. The mechanical celestial being lowered his head and fiddled with his instrument. Someone did fly over there, but we can't afford to offend him. Forget about it. Let's wait for the next one. The spiritual body Shinran also looked stunned and shook his head. Xia Xingchen returned to the safe zone very smoothly. As soon as he landed and left the cockpit, a group of buyers surrounded him like flies. Sorry, I don't sell it. After the last experience, Xia Xingchen was very decisive. He pushed the crowd away and walked towards a diamond crystal, placing his palm on the crystal. Swish. Xia Xingchen's consciousness entered the strange space again. Little guy, you're back so soon. How about it? Do you have enough ore to exchange for the Lone Peak mecha? The figure of supervisor number 7 appeared in front of Xia Xingchen, still smiling. Yeah. Xia Xingchen nodded, and his mind moved. This time, supervisor number 7 didn't need to take action, and a small mountain of dark gold ore appeared in the space. TSK, you got enough so quickly. I really didn't misjudge you. Supervisor number 7 was shocked and praised Xia Xingchen. I'm lucky. I came across a big mineral vein. Xia Xingchen said honestly. You don't have to be modest. Others, even if they are lucky enough to mine minerals, may not be able to get them back. Supervisor number 7 smiled and waved his hand, taking away all the dark gold ore. He stared at Xia Xingchen and asked, little guy, what do you want to exchange? Lone Peak mecha. Ranked 11th. It requires 1.5 million dark gold ores to exchange for the Lone Peak mecha. Xia Xingchen said firmly. Okay. Supervisor number 7 nodded. A huge silver mecha with a height of 10,000 meters, like a mountain, slowly emerged from the darkness. 10,000 meters? Xia Xingchen looked up at the silver mecha and felt extremely small. The size of the beast god mecha is already extremely tall among human mechas. The height of the Lone Peak mecha is 10,000 meters, about the same size as a space carrier. Can I drive such a huge mecha? Xia Xingchen licked his lips, feeling a little nervous. It was the first time he doubted his mecha driving skills. Haha, it's only 10,000 meters high. What's that? The Lone Peak mecha cannot be exchanged in the Space-Time Academy. However, it is at best a transitional model. When you join the academy, there will be more and stronger mechas waiting for you to exchange. Those mechas are larger in size. However, they are not as good as the rumored Unicron mecha. For that mecha, a planet is just an eyeball. You should know how big Unicron is. Supervisor number 7 said with a smile. Chapter 1720 to Technology is Power. Universe Emperor Mecha. A planet is just an eyeball of the mecha. A picture appeared in Xia Xingchen's mind, a giant standing in the center of the universe. Just thinking of this picture, he was so excited that he couldn't help but tremble all over and was completely shocked. The Lone Peak mecha is just my first step into the heavenly world. After entering the Space-Time Academy, there will be more powerful mechas waiting for me. Calm down. You must calm down now. Xia Xingchen took a deep breath, patted his cheeks with both hands, forced himself to calm down, and immediately used all the ores on his body to exchange for the Lone Peak mecha. Whoosh. As soon as the exchange was completed, Xia Xingchen couldn't wait to enter the cockpit of the Lone Peak mecha. This little guy is quite impatient. Supervisor number 7 whispered with a smile on his face. I should be right. This little guy is very good. A good candidate to be a supervisor. I have to inform the senior management of the academy and let them pay more attention. Well, Xia Xingchen is a human from the Milky Way. Human? Supervisor number 7 was slightly startled and then laughed. I didn't expect that after 10,000 years, another human successfully joined the Space-Time Academy. This is good news. I have to tell Supervisor number 9. Haha, he will owe me a big favor. Supervisor number 7 stood up, his right hand swept through the air, and a narrow space crack appeared in front of him, and he stepped directly into it. Whoosh. With this step, Supervisor number 7 crossed the endless space and time, and arrived on a beautiful planet. The mountain is Xingchen. There is an octagonal pavilion on the top of the mountain, and a human youth in a white robe is sitting cross-legged inside. He looks very young, with smooth and delicate skin, and his age is definitely no more than 30 years old. Overseer number 7, the human youth suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were like the deep starry sky, which contained thousands of years, which was inconsistent with his young appearance. Ha ha ha. Overseer number 9. We haven't seen each other for thousands of years. The figure of Overseer number 7 emerged from the blue sky with a smile on his face. To be precise, it's been 3,921 years. The human youth was Overseer number 9 and smiled bitterly. We have a heavy responsibility to monitor a universe. Unless there is something important, we can't move around freely. What's the difference between being an overseer and a prisoner? But you, why are you suddenly interested in looking for me? Have you found a suitable successor and regained your freedom? Successors? How can it be so easy to find? Overseer number 7 waved his hands repeatedly. I have been looking for more than 10,000 years, but I haven't found a suitable one. This time, the academy temporarily transferred me to be in charge of an assessment venue, so I can take a break from my busy schedule and walk around, which can be considered as a way to relax. That's great, you can still walk around. The human youth looked envious. Haha, don't envy me, I envy you. I came to you specially to tell you something good. I found a fellow of your kind in this assessment. It's a young human. Supervisor number 7 said. Oh. What does that have to do with me? The human youth raised his eyebrows slightly, his expression still cold. Humans are also a big family in the universe. It's not surprising that some people join the Space-Time Academy. Number 9, you are the same as that little guy. So impatient. Supervisor number 7 laughed. No wonder there are rumors that you humans evolved from monkeys. Listen to me. This little human guy is not simple. During the assessment, he actually collected 1.5 million kilograms of dark gold ore and exchanged it for the 11th rank mecha. 1.5 million kilograms? The human youth couldn't help but gasp. Where did he get so much ore? Did he rob everywhere? But even me, who is hailed as the most outstanding genius of mankind in 10,000 years, robbed everywhere, and in the end I only got 1.1 million kilograms of dark gold ore. This is the strength of this kid Xia Xingchen. It's a pity that his strength is a little weak, still at the first level of the galaxy. I think he has a good chance of becoming your successor. Supervisor number 7 said. It's okay if you are weak. The weaker you are, the easier it is to train you. The human youth was finally moved and bowed to Supervisor number 7. Whether Xia Xingchen can become my successor or not, I want to thank brother number 7. After this exam, I will treat you to a good drink. Haha, that's what I've been waiting for you to say. When the time comes, we won't leave until we are drunk. Supervisor number 7 laughed loudly, and his figure faded away, leaving the planet. Human Xia Xingchen. From the Milky Way. Have the seeds sown that year finally blossomed and borne fruit? After Supervisor number 7 left, the human youth returned to the center of the pavilion on the top of the mountain and sat down, muttering to himself. Deathlight Planet. Xia Xingchen couldn't wait to enter the interior of the Lone Peak Mech. The cockpit of the Beast God Mech was considered large. The standard Mech of the Galactic Empire had a very small cockpit with only one empty seat for a pilot. Mech masters jokingly called this Mech canned sardines. The higher the level of the Mech, the larger the cockpit space. The cockpit of the Beast God Mech is about 30 to 40 square meters in size. Xia Xingchen can even use the cockpit space to accommodate prisoners of war. However, the interior of the cockpit of the Lone Peak Mech looks like a palace. Xia Xingchen was mentally prepared, but he was still shocked. There was a bright area in the center of the cockpit. Xia Xingchen stood on it, and immediately hundreds of virtual screens appeared in front of him, with dense numbers on them, which made his eyes dizzy. These numbers are the various parameters of the Lone Peak Mech and the external environment parameters. The parameters of a 10,000 meter high mech are of course extremely complex. If it were an ordinary mech master, he would be completely stunned just by seeing the numbers. However, after being shocked for a moment, Xia Xingchen converted the numbers into data according to the guidance of the Lone Peak Mech's built-in optical brain, and directly connected them to his mind with mental power. In this way, it is equivalent to Xia Xingchen's spirit being completely synchronized with the Lone Peak Mech. He does not need to judge from boring numbers, but can directly feel himself and the outside world through perception. It sounds simple, but it is extremely difficult to do. If it weren't for Xia Xingchen's strong mental power, which was enough to control the Lone Peak Mecha, it would be very likely that the brain would be overloaded and soon, the brain would be overdrawn, and in the worst case, life would be in danger. Powerful. After carefully checking the parameters of the Lone Peak Mecha, Xia Xingchen could only use these two words to evaluate it. Xia Xingchen originally thought that the performance of the Beast God Mecha was already the best in the universe. Now Xia Xingchen realized how ignorant he was. Not to mention human technology, even the technology of ancient humans at its peak, could not be compared with the Spacetime Academy. Technology is power. Chapter 1723 Gambling Arena. However, the size of this Gufeng Mecha is still a little too big. Xia Xingchen thought to himself. For most races in the universe, there is an almost paranoid worship of hugeness, which is considered a symbol of strength. Xia Xingchen's teacher Hao Xian once proposed the principle of mecha giantization, based on the theory of heavy artillery and giant ships, in order to increase the size of the mecha, so as to carry more weapons and equipment, as well as mecha painting, thereby improving the overall performance of the mecha. Facts have proved that Hao Xian's concept is completely correct in the Milky Way. However, this is also limited by human technology. The performance of the mecha can only be improved by increasing the size, which is also a helpless move. The technology of the Shinran realm far exceeds that of humans, and this problem should not have occurred. Then the size of the Gufeng mecha is so huge, it should be the personal preference of the mecha designer. In any case, Xia Xingchen is very satisfied with this Gufeng mecha. Mecha master is a very special profession in the universe. What determines combat effectiveness is the sum of the levels of the mecha and the mecha master. Although Xia Xingchen is the first level strength of the galaxy. However, as long as his mental power is enough to drive the Lone Peak Mech, then the Lone Peak Mech is black hole level, plus 3 black hole level time and space suits. Xia Xingchen's combat power will soar to the amazing black hole level. Of course, there are also disadvantages. With Xia Xingchen's current mental power, it is impossible to drive the Lone Peak Mech for a long time. According to his judgment, He can only last for 5 minutes at most when the lone peak mech and the time and space suit are fully fired. And in ordinary level battles, he can only last for half an hour at most. But Xia Xingchen does not think that anyone on the dead light planet can withstand his full attack for 5 minutes. After all, the assessment requirements of the Star Academy are below the black hole level. Xia Xingchen's combat power is raised to above the black hole level, and in a one-on-one situation, he should be invincible. With this strong confidence, Xia Xingchen left the safe area. He did not drive the lone peak mech, but dismantled all the time and space suits, and installed them behind the lone peak mech. He took out the metal piece that Lam gave him, extracted the coordinate information inside, and drove the beast god mech towards the gambling arena. The lone peak mecha is Xia Xingchen's trump card. Before stepping onto the gambling arena, Xia Xingchen did not want to expose his true strength. The gambling arena is located in a huge meteorite crater. The entire meteorite crater has no vegetation, only reddish brown soil, and the terrain is very flat. Xia Xingchen was in midair, looking from a distance, and saw that there were many people gathered in the center of the meteorite crater, as many as hundreds. These people gathered in front of an arena. On the arena, two celestial beings were fighting fiercely, and there were constant strong flashes and huge explosions. This is the gambling arena. Xia Xingchen's pupils shrank suddenly. The celestial beings here all exuded a powerful aura, which was completely different from the celestial beings outside. If those who can participate in the assessment of the Spacetime Academy are the best in the universe, then the celestial beings who leave the safe zone and mine, or outside are geniuses among the best. And the celestial beings near the gambling arena are geniuses among geniuses. Xia Xingchen was shocked, and his body couldn't help shaking slightly. This is not fear, but excitement. Boom. The beast mecha fell from the sky and landed on the edge of the crater, making a loud noise and smoke rising. As Xia Xingchen landed, a figure flew over from the crowd. It was Lam. Lam, a small prince of the Proro people who looked like a hippopotamus, flew over with a smile on his face and said, "Xia Xingchen, you are really here. I can't wait to see you show off your skills." Xia Xingchen also smiled. "Thank you for your information. Since I know that dark gold ore can be exchanged for time and space academy points, I have to try it and see if I can earn some points. Where are the weapons on your mecha?" Lamp found that the appearance of the beast mecha was a little different from what he had seen before, and asked in surprise, "Put it away. Fighting in the ring, you know." Xia Xingchen smiled at Lam. "I understand." Lam also laughed immediately. The rules of the gambling ring are very simple. As long as both parties agree to make a bet that satisfies both parties, the battle can begin. Everyone likes to pick on the weak. It is obviously not a wise choice to show your true strength before stepping onto the ring. However, Lam knows that the people who come here to bet and fight are all shrewd. These little tricks alone will not have much effect. You have a trump card, and so do others. In the final analysis, the competition is still about hard power. Let's go. I'll take you there. Lam was secretly happy and took Xia Xingchen to the center of the crater. Many strong men looked at Xia Xingchen sideways. Curious, hostile, surprised. They did not hide the various emotions in their eyes. Of course, the most common one was the contempt of the strong for the weak. There was no way. Xia Xingchen's mental power level was only the first level of the galaxy. He was the weakest existence next to the gambling and fighting ring full of strong men. Soon Xia Xingchen was treated as air and was completely ignored by the strong men. Xia Xingchen wanted this effect. He was happy and comfortable. He stood in a secluded place with Lam and watched the battle on the ring. The two human strong men were fighting. They were all cultivated bodies, wearing super alloy armor, one holding a giant axe and the other holding a long sword. The two fought from the ring to the sky. The weapons kept colliding, bursting out brilliant sparks, and the momentum was amazing. In the end, the human man holding the giant axe shouted, and the giant axe burst out with dazzling thunderlight and fell heavily from the sky. The celestial being holding the long sword could not resist and was directly killed. "I won. 200,000 dark gold ores. Mine." The giant axe man flew in the air and laughed wildly. Around the ring, many people applauded and cheered like thunder. Some others were dissatisfied and muttered the most vicious curse of their race. In the gambling arena, not only the players gamble against each other, but the audience can also bet on which side will win. The odds for the strong are lower, and the odds for the weak are higher. It's easy to understand. Lam explained to Xia Xingchen. For example, I'm not good at fighting, and I come to the gambling arena just to gamble with others. It's just that I have bad luck, and have guessed wrong for several consecutive games, and I lost a lot of ore. I originally said I would lend you ore. Now, Xia Xingchen waved his hand, smiled at Lam, and said, no, I still have 100,000 kilograms of ore in my hand, which is enough. This 100,000 kilograms of ore was snatched by Xia Xingchen from the three spirit celestial beings Baku. He deliberately left it as the capital for the gambling arena. Xia Xingchen watched a few games and already had a good idea. The celestial beings who came to the arena are basically the third level of the galaxy. And they are the strongest of the third level of the galaxy. Occasionally, there are weaker celestial beings who come to the arena, and there are usually grudge battles. Xia Xingchen couldn't help it anymore, and was eager to try. He wanted to go to the ring and use actual combat, to test the true combat effectiveness of the lone peak mecha in the space-time suit. Chapter 1724 Betting. Deadlight Planet. In the crater, Xia Xingchen watched the fight on the gambling arena, and felt his blood boiling. He couldn't wait to have a fight with the strong men present. Just then, a huge bare-headed human covered with black hair came over. He carried a huge heavy hammer behind him. He was obviously a strong man on the physical side. Little guy, you look very strong. I'm Hacker, the warrior hacker of Xia Xingchen. The bare-headed man hacker looked down at Xia Xingchen and laughed heartily. You seem to want to find an opponent. It just so happens that I'm also looking for an opponent. Our levels are similar. Both are the first level of the galaxy. How about it? Are you interested in fighting with me on the arena? Xia Xingchen looked up at the bare-headed man, who was more than 3 meters tall. Under the perception of the omniscience field, his energy fluctuations were indeed only the first level of the galaxy. Among all the strong men present, Hacker was considered to be a relatively weak one. I don't mind. Xia Xingchen was about to nod, but Lam suddenly pulled his clothes, as if he had something to say. What's wrong, Lam? Xia Xingchen turned around, and communicated with Lam directly with his mental power. Don't agree to him. I know this Hacker. He looks honest and simple, like a big stupid bear. In fact, he is very smart. He specifically selects those who look weak and kills them to earn ore. You are a newcomer and look weak, so he has targeted you. In fact, he is not a first level galaxy. The Xiangxian people have mastered a method to hide their energy aura. In fact, he is at the peak of the second level galaxy, and he is not inferior to the third level galaxy. Lam said anxiously. Oh, do you think I'm a weak person? Haha, this smart bear has a lot of ideas, but his eyesight is not good. Xia Xingchen smiled at Lam, and thanked him for his kindness. Turning around, he still agreed to Hacker's invitation. I agree. It's great. It's great. Hacker nodded, but there was a hint of malicious snicker in his eyes. Since you agree, then let's talk about the bounty for the gambling fight. You are new here. I will not bully you. No matter how much bounty you offer, I will double it. Xia Xingchen said honestly, I only have 100,000 kilograms of ore. Is it enough? 100,000? Hacker's bare eyes widened, with a surprised expression, but he was even more delighted in his heart. Hacker was sure that Xia Xingchen was a newcomer who knew nothing. He didn't even know the rules of the gambling fight arena. The minimum requirement to enter the gambling fight arena is 100,000 kilograms of ore. However, it does not mean that the minimum bet amount for each battle is 100,000. In fact, the arena below the third level of the galaxy generally has 20,000 to 30,000 kilograms of dark gold ore. Only the battles of strong people above the third level will have a bounty of more than 100,000. It's okay. Hacker suppressed his joy and quickly pulled Xia Xingchen to an instrument that looked like a metal table next to the ring. Like the ring, this instrument was made with the skill of creation. Behind it stood a galaxy level 3 mechanical race expert, who was responsible for recording the fighting situation in the ring and the bits. Behind the mechanical race expert, there were 7 galaxy level 3 experts with different life forms. They were the organizers of the gambling ring. They did not participate in the fighting, but were responsible for the fairness of the ring. Before the ring began, the bounty would be collected behind the table and guarded by these experts. When the battle was over, it would be distributed to the winner according to the agreement. 1% of the winner's bounty was their hard work fee. For a gambling fight with a bounty of 100,000, the 8 of them could share 1,000 kilograms of dark gold ore, which was not bad. Lord BJ, I want to fight him. The two of us have already discussed it. Hacker walked to the instrument and was very respectful to the mechanical race expert. Are you sure? The mechanical race's BJ swept his electronic eyes over Xia Xingchen and Hacker. He wanted to make sure that both parties were willing to participate. Sure. Xia Xingchen and Hacker both nodded. Okay. Put the bounty you agreed on here. BJ pointed to the metal table. Xia Xingchen took out a full 100,000 kilograms of dark gold ore and placed it on the table. Swish. The orders appeared directly, and a number appeared on the table, 100,000.031. Obviously, this table has a space storage function. The number displayed on it is the specific weight of the dark gold ore. It is extremely precise and accurate to 3 decimal places. Hacker also took out his own dark gold ore, which was a full 200,000 kilograms. BJ looked a little surprised when he saw the number on it. It is quite rare for a battle between the first level galaxies to be bet so much. However, BJ did not say much. He asked Xia Xingchen and Hacker again to confirm that the amount of the bet was correct, and then let the two of them go to the ring. Humph, Hacker is really lucky. He actually caught a big fish. That young human is really stupid. He actually bet 100,000 with him. It seems that Hacker will eat him, and there will be no bones left. Behind BJ, a Zerg warrior snorted coldly. The universe is too big. There are all kinds of fools. There are not enough liars. But it's good. This young human was deceived once. Maybe he will learn a lesson and grow a lot. He won't be so stupid in the future. The energy body warrior next to the Zerg warrior shook his head slowly. He was not optimistic about Xia Xingchen either. In the future, Hacker has always been merciless when attacking the weak. I'm afraid that young human will have no future. A human warrior snorted coldly. He knew Hacker better. BJ didn't say anything all the time. He stared at Xia Xingchen coldly and then pressed a button on the table. The table immediately began to glow. This was not a battle signal, but a sign that bets could be placed. When the table stopped glowing, it was a signal for the battle to begin, and all bets would stop at that time. Immediately, many people around the arena rushed to the table. Hacker versus a galaxy level 1. I know with my ass that Hacker will win. I bet 10,000. A celestial being who looked like an old dog shouted loudly and threw the ore into the table. Hacker has won 10 battles so far. He has never lost. Although the people who fought with him are not as strong as him. However, this shows that he is cautious and has a unique vision. Another celestial being also hurriedly placed a bet. Bet. I also bet on Hacker to win. You all bet on Hacker? Then the odds will drop drastically. I'd better bet on this young human and take a chance. Well, the minimum bet is 1,000, so I'll bet 1,000. The celestial beings placed bets one after another. The vast majority of celestial beings bet on Hacker to win. Only a few celestial beings, with the mentality of taking a gamble, bought a few bets on Xia Xingchen to win. Only Lam waited until everyone else had bought most of the bets. At the moment, when the betting was about to end, he walked up to BJ and said in a deep voice, I bet on Xia Xingchen to win. All my property. 50,000. Chapter 1725 Test. Lam's action immediately attracted the attention of the nearby celestial beings. A skeleton human with bones all over his body said in surprise, Lam, are you crazy because of losing? That's 50,000 kilograms of dark gold ore. You actually bet all of it on this galaxy human. He can't be a match for Hacker. Lam, it's really unwise for you to do this. I just saw Lam with that human. Could he be bewitched? He can be bewitched by a human. His IQ is very low. The celestial beings around laughed at Lam mercilessly. Lam did not answer, but gritted his teeth and bet again. In addition to the 50,000 kilograms of ore, add another 10,000. The last 10,000 kilograms of ore was left by Lam to pass the assessment of the Spacetime Academy. At this moment, Lam's eyes were red, and he was desperate, putting all his hopes on Xia Xingchen. If you don't have enough points, you will be a worthless person, even if you join the Spacetime Academy. Lamb learned a lot about the inside story of the Spacetime Academy from his fellow elders. The most important thing is to seize this opportunity of the assessment and earn a lot of points. Otherwise, if you are slow, you will miss a lot of opportunities. Let's go. Lamb's eyes were red. Are you sure you want to put all the or on this human named Xia Xingchen? BJ was slightly moved and looked up at Lamb. I'm sure, Lamb said decisively. Amidst the confusion and ridicule of the people around him, Lamb completed the bet. And the moment Lamb finished the bet, the numbers on the table suddenly went out. The battle begins. Ha ha ha. Human boy, you seem to be quite famous. If I kill you, I can get a lot of bounties from the eternal gods. Hacker only showed his true face at this moment, with a grim smile on his face. He obviously knew Xia Xingchen's identity a long time ago. Another running dog of the eternal gods? Xia Xingchen looked at Hacker with cold eyes. Running dog. Say whatever you want. Hacker said with contempt. You only have two choices now. One is to surrender immediately, and Uncle Hacker may consider sparing your life. The other is to die in your hands. As soon as the words fell, Hacker suddenly flew into the sky. His momentum soared, and amazing energy surged out of his body, setting off gusts of wind, sweeping in all directions. Boom. The rocks near the ring were crushed by the energy impact. In the amazing momentum of Hacker, the celestial beings around the ring opened their protective shields one after another and were not affected at all. TSK, this guy Hacker still has a hand. He turned out to be a strong man of the second level of the galaxy. Have you not heard of the Xia Xingchen people? Although they are powerful, they are born to like conspiracy and intrigue. No matter what, that Milky Way human Xia Xingchen can't be Hacker's opponent. Look at him. Under Hacker's momentum, he can't even stand steadily. The celestial beings talked about it, and they were not optimistic about Xia Xingchen. Human, you have no chance. I will kill you the second before you say surrender. Hacker flew above Xia Xingchen's head, his body bursting with dazzling light, and he laughed out loud. Xia Xingchen stood on the ring, looking up at the arrogant Xia Xingchen star, his eyes cold. I originally planned to spare your life. Since you are a running dog of the Eternal God clan, and you want to kill me, then I will not be polite. I will kill you to establish my authority. I want to announce to the whole universe that I, Xia Xingchen, am not a fish, to be slaughtered by anyone. Boom. A giant mecha Gufeng with a height of 10,000 meters appeared on the ring, and Xia Xingchen instantly entered the interior of the Gufeng mecha. 3 time and space suits have been equipped on the Gufeng mecha, surging with the power of time and space. It is more amazing than the one equipped on the Beast God mecha, and it emits a dazzling golden light. What kind of mecha is this? 10,000 meters high. Is it a black hole level? After seeing the Gufeng mecha, the celestial beings present were all stunned. Mecha, they have seen a lot. However, a giant mecha that is 10,000 meters high and as big as a space battleship is very rare. Hacker found that a giant who stood tall suddenly appeared in front of him. Compared with this giant, he was smaller than a mosquito, and he suddenly had an ominous premonition in his heart. So what if it's big? I have slaughtered thousands of giants. Hacker waved the heavy hammer in his hand and hit the knee of the Lone Peak mecha fiercely. Bang! The giant hammer hit a layer of golden barrier, and immediately a mushroom cloud rose up. The force of the blow was comparable to a nuclear explosion. However, Hacker's heavy blow could not penetrate the defense of the time barrier at all. In the cockpit, Xia Xingchen looked down at the screen, and the loss rate was 0.01%. Awesome. The full force of the second level galaxy hit the Lone Peak mecha, which was just a tickle. Xia Xingchen couldn't help but exclaimed. He had a more comprehensive new understanding of the performance of the Lone Peak mecha in the time and space suit. Impossible. Hacker looked astonished, and even looked down at the hammer in his hand. This hammer is called Destruction. It is a well-known weapon on Xia Xingchen Star, where Hacker is located. It is even called a divine weapon. It contains the power of destruction. The power of each attack is no less than a nuclear explosion. However, the attack of destruction was actually resisted by Xia Xingchen. Hacker couldn't help, but started out himself. I don't believe it. Destruction is indestructible. Hacker was furious, and no longer held back. He swung the heavy hammer in his hand wildly, and the nuclear explosion attack hit the lone peak mecha like a storm. After a moment, Hacker was panting with exhaustion, and the giant hammer destruction in his hand was also shining with a dazzling red light. This was an overload phenomenon caused by excessive use of energy. Xia Xingchen looked at the screen again. The loss rate was 1%, and a smile appeared on his face. Yes, it caused me 1% damage. If this level of attack comes again 100 times, you can defeat me. However, you have no chance. Thank you for letting me calculate the defense limit of the lone peak mech and the time barrier. You use me to test your mech. Hacker's face was flushed, and when he heard Xia Xingchen's words, his bare face turned green. That's right. I have tested the defense of the mech, and now I will test the attack power. You have to hold on. Xia Xingchen's voice was cold, and a giant battle blade condensed in the hand of the lone peak mech. From a distance, it was in the shape of a long sword, but from a close look, it was like a narrow mountain. Time and space battle blade, cut. With a roar, the time and space battle blade fell towards Hacker's head. Hacker used up his last strength and raised the destruction hammer to his head, but before the blade of the time and space battle blade touched the hammer itself, the energy storm that erupted hit the hammer fiercely and shattered it. Ah! Hacker screamed, and his whole body was submerged in the energy flow, breaking into tiny particles. Hacker, the second level galaxy level strongman, died. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.